Nerdrotic.com.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler, and I am live in North County, San Diego, bringing you all the latest from pop culture, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Hi, lots of ugly out there right now, quite frankly. But you know what? That's not you. You are a beautiful and lovely and talented chat, and I appreciate that you are here. And we have so much to talk about today. I don't know if we're going to get through a third of it, really. So let's, as people roll in, let's just welcome y'all, and I'll run down what I'm going to try to get through today. Galvin, welcome. Andy Howard, David B, Redneck Gringa, James Dugan, Finbar Hooley, Griffin Turbo, Barbara, Icon Bearer, Phoenix Tangent, and Xanthopus, Alexander Smith, Latino Slant, what's up, my friend? Master Sidearms, another Gen 42, hail, Douglas Adams, B. Galindo, Hiram, T-Bagger 08. Well, where are all your friends? T-Bagger 1 through 7. Judicon, what's up? Eric Stoller, Phoenix Tangent, Travis Tabble, and Bill Lumberg. And all of a sudden, I get a error in my stream, but I'm just going to move right along anyway, because those tend to work themselves out. So, what do we have to talk about today? Well, Hollywood is coming to the reality of a lot of things, and they are losing their effing minds, as they should, because they brought a lot of this on. Now, there's articles out there, especially by our good friend Scotty Mendelson, rebutting some of our arguments. Of course, the COOF it factors in majorly in this. But aside from that, Hollywood should be thriving outside of theaters, and you've already heard my argument of how they could have kept them around. I'm not saying the theaters would have been profitable. I'm not saying some wouldn't close, because they probably would, but you would have softened the blow by taking a hit yourself, Hollywood, a hit that you're already taking, nothing's going to change. Not now, not in a year. The movies that you produced, that you could have put out this year, could have made some money, more money than they would have made on streaming. And you could have saved a few theaters. There was still the international audience. Tenet proved that, it pulled in, what, 300 million? That's not nothing. It's better than nothing. What's Black Widow going to pull in just going to Disney Plus, which I still predict that's where it's going to go. Because, we're getting everything pushed out to May, and you can't just fire this thing back up again, and you can't just start an industry back up again. And the movie theater industry is that, an industry. And if you lay off employees, you need to rehire them. Will you be paying them enough? Will they want to come into work? How long is it going to take for the public to feel comfortable enough to go into movie theaters? I think I've already seen a sample of this just in going to the gym. The gym here in San Diego opened up a couple months ago, and it only started reaching its limited capacity in the last week. So that was 2 months. And I think that's probably pretty realistic for something like theaters, that it'll take a couple of months for numbers to roll back in. And are they going to open up at limited capacity? Well, if they're here in California, they're going to have to, because Gavin Newsom is not going to let go of this power until it is taken from him. And that's the only way we're going to have to deal with this dude. And unfortunately, his ilk is entrenched here in the state. And that's why I'm leaving. If I thought there was a glimmer of hope that things could turn around, I might consider staying in San Diego. And I don't want to talk about that too much, because that's pretty much what my next video is going to be. But we are going to discuss the Gavin Newsom press conference from over the weekend. One of my dear members showed me something on our members stream. It was a news clip from Fox News that showed Gavin Newsom, and below it says, "Please come back." Now, he didn't exactly say that. Actually, he clowned the people who are leaving in California, dismissed all of their concerns, did not address any of the issues because he never does. If you want to see how patient of a person you are, try to sit through a Gavin Newsom press conference and just see if he answers any question at all, even slightly, because he doesn't. He was asked directly about Disney, and he talked about inclusion. He didn't answer the question. He won't answer the question. And it's weird to be on the same side as Disney in this issue, but I am. They've lost 28,000 employees. They had to get rid of them. And, of course, the underlying factor in this is you blame the coof, and you know who to blame for the coof. But beyond that, Gavin Newsom said it in his press conference. It's the decisions we make that affect people directly. And this goes beyond partisan politics. My video is not even really about partisan politics. It's about the politics here. There is no partisan politics here as far as who's in power. So we need to start questioning that. And, for me, it's never been like go red team, go blue team. I think being an adult, it goes much further than that. There's a lot of nuance to every argument, but that's what it's turned into. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, my good friend, has the perfect description that politics is now modern day WWF. I hate saying WWE, sorry. And that's what it's turned into. It's just, I'm going to root for my team. And, well, some people are turning into Raider fans times 11 on one side. And we will discuss that, his addressing Disney, because that's not going to be in my video. As far as shaming people, dismissing their concerns, not talking about every problem there is in California and referring to the past. When he was asked directly, he said, well, he actually agreed with me and many others that we were experiencing the best economy we had seen in our lifetime over the last 4 years. And it wasn't because of Gavin Newsom. And that's like saying, to your spouse after you smacked your partner, oh, I know I smacked you just now, but 2 years ago, I was awesome to you. I took you out to dinner. I took you out to a date. Why would you leave? That was his logic in the argument. So we will discuss that a little bit. And again, that video will be out tomorrow morning. I've been working on it all morning and all afternoon. Then we're got to talk about conflicting Marvel Cinematic Universe rumors. We've got Doomcock, who's come out and said, are we ready for the MCU? And I've made a couple of videos on that myself, based on just not on rumors, based on what we're seeing and what we've heard from Kevin Feige. And then we have something else that if they did it without identity politics, I'm guessing it would interest a lot of people. I don't know if they are true, though. So we're going to go over both of them. And then, of course, we're going to talk about defunding the BBC, because they are about to do something absolutely despicable. But I want to wait till a little bit deeper in the live stream before we discuss that. Right now, eyeballs are still on us. So, hi, I haven't cussed yet. Because it is despicable. It's as despicable, in my opinion, as that if they do it the way I think they're going to do it. Well, they're doing it at all. I think it's as despicable, or potentially could be, as that film on Netflix. Then we also need to talk about a little Doctor Who. They're recasting a major character, and it's an act of desperation. And of course, we're going to talk about Star Trek Discovery. So programming note, let's get some business out of the way. If you like what I do here, please consider subscribing to the channel. My analytics say what Jeremy from the Corners analytics say. There's a percentage of you out there who haven't subscribed yet. Just click that button, hit the bell if you like what I do. If you don't, that's fine too. Also, like and share the videos. It really does help, especially these live streams. Now, I take them down off this channel and I put them over to Nerdrotic Live, so please consider subscribing over there as well. And this live stream will be up there in a couple hours after it airs. Star Trek Las Vegas has been canceled. And I think we all knew this was coming. And they waited to the last possible minute. So it has officially been canceled. I am still booked to go there. I have booked a hotel. I'm going. I know many of you have. I have every intention of going. It is a little difficult right now finding a place to meet And I'm guessing not a ton of you are going to come, but I'm still going. So we'll find a place to go where we can hang out. I'm looking for outside bars right now. And the one I was going to go to is voluntarily closed. And I don't know if he's going to reopen. It doesn't sound like he is, which is a bummer. The Millennium Fandom Bar. I hope he is. I mean, maybe he can afford to stay closed for a year. And it's a good guy, and I understand why he's doing it, because I don't think he's got access to outside. So I don't think he can do it. And considering what part of town he's in, yeah. So my intentions are still to go. We got to work some things out and pay attention to Twitter, and I'll let you know. But as far as my family and I are still going to Vegas because I just want to go somewhere and have a good time while being responsible at the same time. We're not going to, crawl all over each other naked or anything, as far as I know. And then Star Trek Discovery premieres at midnight Pacific time, supposedly. So I am going to be live at 1:15 a.m. tomorrow morning, tonight, to cover the first episode of Star Trek Discovery. Going back to the old days, covering some live TV on this channel. It should be fun, and I'm sure they're going to, third time's a charm, right? They're going to turn things around. No, they're not. It's going to be trash. Oh, so first, let's get to this is pretty big news, right? So let me get over here, and we are going to go over an article. Now, let's see I want to see the chat. Oh, Christ. Disney reorganizes content and distribution units to bolster streaming business. And I don't think this is a big surprise. This is something that's going to reverberate through Hollywood, and the paradigm shift is here. It has arrived. The streaming wars have been fast-forwarded. Now, according to some sources that I've heard, the mainstream media, Disney Plus has 100 million subscribers. 100 million subscribers. Really? Now, in this article, they say they surpassed 60 million subscribers, and then I heard 50. So I don't know what's true, and I guess we'll never know until they tell us. But I guess it's something they're going to have to tell their shareholders. But this could be it for theaters. And I think that realization is hitting a lot of people in Hollywood. And listen, every time we've seen one of our favorite mediums go direct to consumer, it changes it forever. It lowers the value of that thing because obviously once it hits the internet, Tortuga, things go to Tortuga, we'll just say. So I don't know how they're going to afford movies like Endgame anymore. Now, it doesn't mean genre entertainment's going to die because it's still the thing. I think it'll probably just go to streaming, and they'll, what Doomcock mentioned, they'll probably use that Mandalorian approach to filming, which, is pretty clever. It's kind of cool how they do that. But yeah, I just don't know how you're going to get that. I mean, that influx of cash you got every weekend, billions of dollars every weekend is gone. And streaming services, it just makes your entertainment disposable. Like, look at the garbage on Netflix. I mean, most of it is garbage. And then it's got one or two good things. And it's just going to be up to you. What is going to be the 3 or 4 streaming services you subscribe to? Because that's, no scientific research was done in that. I just think it's going to be 3 or 4 per person. Disney might be one of them. And the other studios have just lagged behind. The thing is, though, Disney is still behind Netflix and Amazon and Hulu for years. And good thing Disney owns Hulu. But this is probably going to change entertainment, and I don't know what kind of plans they're going to have for the MCU with the delay. And you have to factor in how pissed off people are at Hollywood right now. That never gets mentioned, but we'll talk about it here. I have no problem doing that. And, the amount of people that are pissed off, is it enough to bury the town? No, but it's enough to significantly hurt it. This is a revenue stream with many people you've lost forever. And now you're going to have to compete against many other things, and you're going to lag behind that as well because you are competing against us. You're competing against, I brought this up before, 32 flavors of Nick Weiser reviewing Popeye's chicken. Like that's, but there's thousands of us on this platform, and they cannot keep up with that. And nobody wants to see anything polished on this platform at all. I mean, we're already starting to see that die. Clownfish did a good video on that, and yes, they mentioned me, but it was still a good point whether they mentioned me or freaking world-class bullshitters or geeks and gamers or whoever, that these channels are getting more traction because, well, Collider was too polished, plus it was just boring. And you're hiring people, a lot of people who worked in those polished, like the Nerdists and stuff, not all of them were genuine nerds. As a matter of fact, it's pretty easy to pick them out. And you can also pick out the comedians that they hired, the struggling comedians or the actors or the struggling actors that they hired who, went to Target, bought a couple of shirts and went, I'm a nerd. And then I'm going to read somebody else's writing off a teleprompter. That shit doesn't work. I would much rather sit through a bunch of and-ums with a genuine nerd. Hello. Not going to go over this entire article. It just looks, and this is an entertainment shift a paradigm shift for entertainment as a whole. We're including the sports ball. Yes, I put the crying LeBron face on my thumbnail. Hopefully it triggered all the right people. And the basketball ratings were down. NBA finals ratings were down on a year where Kobe died and they won the championship in LA, but leave it to LA to still riot after the championship and destroy businesses and destroy taxpayer, funded vehicles and that we get to pay for. And we are funding all the insurance companies right now because all that insurance money that these companies are getting, how do you think those companies are staying afloat right now? PPP money. So we're paying for everything right now with the printed money that the government is taking care of. And all this I'm talking about right now, the reorganization and the move to streaming and the extinction of movie theaters is all predicated on one single thing. You and I fucking bail them out. Hell no. Now, of course, they're not going to listen to us, and they're going to go ahead and do it anyway. And they're going to get bailed out to the tunes of billions of dollars. And they get to maximize all of their profits. If I saw Hollywood collectively, this will never happen, by the way, collectively trying to soften the blow a little bit, I'd be more sympathetic to that because they do reside in California, and it wasn't their decision to shut down. But that guy who's in office right now is a guy you put there, is a guy you support, is one of the guys you have in your pocket. But I guess he's not that much in your pocket, huh, Bob Iger? You're all understanding what kind of a politician, I was about to say something else, Gavin Newsom is. See, I'm very familiar with this guy. He was my mayor. And he was also attorney general of the state. And his rise to power on doing absolutely nothing. I mean, what he's most well known for is really pushing for gay marriage in San Francisco, something I personally have no problem with, by the way. And he did it before it was legal in the state, and he got his name, but he did nothing after that. He married a couple of couples and made sure his face was there and used that community to rise. I also know him for sleeping with his campaign manager's wife during one of the elections in San Francisco. That's the kind of guy who's going to moralize to us. But as far as governing, as far as like taxes and laws and business, the non-social aspect of governing, this guy fracking sucks. All he does, he rides the wave like any good politician would do. But during this time, we get to see, and I mean everybody from the top all the way down, we're actually seeing what they do when they have to actually do their job. And it's the same thing they've always done. Nothing. nothing that's in everyone's interest. It's only in a certain people's interests. And it's all, words are wind. Words are wind. And Disney is now seeing that, and Hollywood is now seeing that. And Scotty Mendelson can write all day. It's just the coof and only the coof. No, the coof is an absolute at this point. We know it's here. It was coming. We were never going to get rid of it. The goalposts keep changing, of course. Now we are well into we got to wait for vaccination, which is not realistic at all. Sorry to say. You got to be pragmatic about some of this stuff because, I don't know, the future hangs in the balance. That's all. That's all. All right. So do you want to bail out Hollywood? I think the answer is no. Considering how much Gavin Newsom talked about, and when he was asked directly about, Disney and other things, the first thing he went to is federal funds. We're waiting for federal funds. We're waiting for federal funds. And then he said in the same sentence, like, we can't print money like the federal government, so we need to balance the budget, and they're going to do $11 billion in tax cuts or something like that, which is nothing here in this state. And they weren't going to do those cuts if they got the federal aid. And they can't keep getting that. California needs to figure out California's problem, because before he talked about the federal aid, he talked about how independent this state is and how it doesn't need anybody else and how advanced it is over all the other states that have businesses open. Our good friend Drunk 3PO, shout out to Drunk 3PO, did a video at Park Hoppin'. I highly recommend you go watch it. It was after this live stream, of course, on the Park Hoppin' channel. It's part of the Geeks and Gamers Network. Gavin Newsom sent some of his staff to Disney World to research reopening that he has no intention of doing. He sent some of his staff to Disney World. When I saw that video pop up, I freaking lost my mind. You can ask Nerdrotic Jr. I was driving and I almost drove off the side of the road. Now, we all know there was no fucking research involved. Somebody had a little vacation on our dime, and they already did. And Drunk 3PO mentions this in the video. They already did the research, and they did the research here in California to reopen Disney World because Disney is based here in California. So there's no reason not to open it up. There's no reason not to open it up. But we did find out through Chairman Newsom that the COOF not only knows where you are geographically, it not only knows what time it is, it knows what race you are. That's right. It's a pretty smart COOF. Clever little bugger. So yeah, no bailouts for Hollywood. And this is all going to just continue till the rest of the year like we knew would happen. This is why we left. This is why we're leaving. So Melissa, we could have waited it out and reopened the salon. I mean, no one could have predicted that Nancy Pelosi would have been caught with her mask off, getting her hair did in a salon that was supposed to be closed. But it happened, and that's what reopened the salons in San Francisco, and nothing else would have, by the way. And they are open at limited capacity, and we could have waited it out. But I knew damn well that, and so did Melissa, that they would reopen to limited capacity, and then there's a very good chance they would dial it back and shut it down and do the stop and restart for the next few months. And believe me, it will make a big difference which president wins the election on when California opens up. And that's pretty much it, in my opinion. And if you don't think so, you're not paying attention. And we could have done the what ifs and what fors, and I might in my video a little bit. But that's why we left. I mean, we're out of here. There's no way this is ever going to change. Things are just going to get worse. This isn't like a previous recession in California. You can't compare this to anything else. This is obviously unprecedented, and it's largely, I got to be careful with that word. This could have been avoided. This all could have been avoided in so many aspects. But I'm not going to stick around to find out. And I mean, like, listen, I was just recording the California video before this, and I don't want to spoil it, but I mean, I was in that mode because I was watching that press conference over and over again, and just didn't make things any easier, you know? So we're doing fine. This isn't easy, but we're doing fine. But, you know, I do think about all the other people going through this right now, and they're not being heard. Their voices don't matter at all. So hopefully they will, I have a feeling they might make themselves heard at the ballot box. And hopefully for this one, I'd like to see a change. I'd like to see the general population have a real long memory about how California was governed, how this state was governed. Now, I am of the belief that, and this probably is considered a bit fringe. I don't think so, though. I think this state should have been split up years ago, personally. I think it's too big. I think being in governing from Sacramento, it pretty much favors L.A. and Northern California. They don't really, San Diego's kind of in its own pocket, and there's advantages to that too. And then the upper part of California gets completely forgotten, like Lower Oregon, basically, what it's called. So, or the state of Jefferson. So I've always been a proponent of that, is to split this puppy up. But there's, I think it was close at one point, but they'll never allow it to happen. They'll never, ever allow it to happen. Oh, man. Yeah, I was just in my mode. I was in my mode. If you need a soundbite for Leaving California video, watch the first minute of Tim Dillon's Los Angeles Has Become Embarrassing on YouTube. You should love it. Golden Brem for £5. Thank you very much. I will check it out. I've been watching lots and lots of video. I've got a lot of new information for you, including Democrats actually realizing that people are leaving. This, to dismiss the California exodus shows, Gavin Newsom has presidential aspirations, and I don't know how anybody votes for this guy, but nobody pays attention here in California, and he's terrible. He is terrible. Being reported, Showtime are bringing Dexter back for a 10-episode run. As much as I love the series, I hope they don't take it down the streaming turd on it. Dexter, did it have you know what? I never watched the ending of it. 6 Feet Under had a pretty good ending. I never watched the ending. People were kind of upset with it. I watched the first couple. I liked it. I just kind of trailed off. David McPherson for £5. Anything made right now is gonna have political overtones. Let's be real. Mikey Gussler for $10. MCU Spider-Man 3 seems to be more of a mess than Spider-Man 3 and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 put together. How many characters we recognize need to be in one film? Love Toby, but not in something like this. No, especially not if he's coming back. I'd rather Toby come back in a legit sequel. If they want to make money, you get Sam Raimi back and you do Spider-Man 4. But these multiverse things, that tells you we're at the end. Because this is something that you do when your universe is old. There's so many other stories you can tell besides this. It's gimmicky. And yeah, Hollywood needs to resort to gimmicks right now, and we will discuss that. Yarwick Van Wire, welcome to the Proto-Molecule level. Hail. Mikey Gussler for $5. Netflix CEO defends Cuties, says it's uniquely misunderstood in the U.S. The film speaks for itself, and it's about coming of age. The Netflix CEO I disagree. I completely disagree. But of course he's going to say that because he backs that. And who knows? I think there's a strong sentiment in Hollywood, and I wouldn't go comparing this to other countries. You think are you saying that we're just less advanced because we protect our children and we are a little sensitive to this stuff? F you. I wouldn't go down that road, but that's the detachment, and a Netflix CEO can say what he wants. So can Jeff Bezos. These are untouchable, titanic corporations. Read a recent interview with Eric Kripke on Polygon. He stated that season 3 of The Boys could take a different direction if Biden wins, says Terminus Est for $5. That you can say that for Hollywood. For Hollywood. You watch if he wins, all the politics will be dialed down. They'll probably even come out and say, we're really sorry. We want to heal after this. We want to heal, and we want to bring the other side in and start being empathetic. No, fuck no. It's way too late for that. But yeah, absolutely. And all of a sudden, I don't think you'll see them be critical of that administration. It's just a guess. Not that I'm Nerdstradamus or anything. But they weren't very critical of the previous administration. They were critical of Clinton back in the day. Saturday Night Live was very critical of Clinton back in the day. But that was back in the day. Not another dime gives me a thumbs up. Hail to you for $1.99. Yeah, tell me fucking Hollywood is going to lose their minds if the Orange Man wins. I can't get into this, but there's the project. Okay. So I really like a movie called The Boondock Saints. It's one of my top 3 favorite movies. It also has an equally good documentary about the director going insane. Well, okay. So there's that. And on the other hand, it says Veritas. So there's a project that came out with some news recently that really, think about it. I mean, I can't really get into it, but think about that flipped. How much that would be all over the news right now. Be trending on Twitter, be everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. But right now it's freaking idiot, by the way. Basically, they caught a guy saying that if Biden wins, it's going to be riots on the streets anyway, because we're gonna riot to set policy, which is exactly what they've been doing. This has all been funded. We've seen the U-Haul trucks. I hope U-Haul is doing their due diligence to stamp this out, by the way. I don't want to start associating this stuff with U-Haul. So I hope U-Haul, I like them as a corporation. They certainly helped me move. I hope they're looking into this. Gen Xer Slacker for $5. Hail, Gary. Been watching for about a year and love what you do. Can I get a shout out for my 50th birthday today from one of my favorite Gen Xers? Happy birthday, Gen X Slacker. Happy 50, half a century. God, we're getting old. Oh my, jeez. Ow. See, I say that. And welcome to the Geloja level. And welcome to the second half of your life. Welcome to the age of wisdom and pain. Ironcaster, welcome to the Geloja level. So I could not attend the Among Us Friday Night Tights thing last night. I apologize for that. I just had too much work to do, and I'm solo dad this week, so I have to hang out with my son at times. So yeah, hopefully we can do that again. It's just really hard for me to commit to live streaming twice in one day, honestly. And I had already done bagging and boarding and chatting that I do with Az every other Tuesday. Please go check out that episode. It's on his channel when you get a chance. It was fun. I love doing that. So yeah, I got to save a lot of I don't want to spoil my video. I practically have, but I've got some new information. And actually, you guys have been sending me more stuff, and you've been asking for another one because I haven't really said why I'm leaving the state of my birth. So the video will answer why I don't just stay in San Diego, because San Diego is not like Los Angeles or San Francisco. It doesn't have the problems those city has. Now, there is homeless, there are drugs, there are gangs, but it's not nearly as bad as those cities. And it's because it's more spread out. It's the geographical location. It's on the border, comes with that kind of stuff, but it's a cleaner city. It's better governed for sure. It's not perfect, and it's still in California. But it's, you know what? It's great right now being where I grew up at home, being near my parents. And in times like this, you want to kind of be around your loved ones, circle the wagons, shall we say. And the in-laws are leaving too. It's not just us. And, this isn't, again, easy. I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not Ben Shapiro. I'm not Elon Musk. I can't hire somebody to go build me a studio and go plug in. I have to work. Melissa still has to work. My oldest son is overseeing our house while we prep it for sale. My youngest son is attending his freshman year in high school on Zoom. And I mean, that's hard enough. That's hard enough. He's had such a good attitude about it. And he's used to, because he's on the spectrum, right? So he gets a little extra, care. And he's not been able to get that. And I don't think many other families have gotten that either. And that's not anything I've heard Gavin Newsom even address in the last year. That's the parent side of me. There's a lot of things he's not addressing. This guy is, I don't think I've disliked a politician as much as I dislike this guy. And I'm saying dislike on YouTube. That's not the real description of how much I don't like this guy. So there's that. Those are my notes. Let's get to, let's get to those MCU rumors, shall we? They're pretty interesting. And this all ties into Disney again. Bob Iger quit Gavin Newsom's committee or whatever on reopening Disney, got rid of 28,000 employees. Universal just got Lady Gravemaster just shot me this. By the way, she did a great job today. We got a lot of good stuff to go over. Well, no, it's not good. It's good stuff to talk about, but it's not good for people because Universal just let go of 2,000 employees. There's going to be a lot more of this. AMC probably won't be able to finish it. They'll probably shut it down. The China portion of that, I'm not really sorry for at all. Disney is connected to the NBA. Of course, the NBA has come out and said they won't be as woke next year. And it all depends again on the presidency. So when and if the Orange Man wins, could you deal with 4 more years of Hollywood, not the president, of Hollywood from the previous 4 years? A Hollywood that was on a good trajectory that I was pretty happy with. I thought we were going to see some pretty amazing things from Hollywood this was back in 2015, mind you. Okay. I mean, we saw this stuff was creeping in. It was creeping in, but wasn't really hitting things I loved. It was definitely creeping into comics. Notice I haven't talked about them because they're insignificant right now. The only thing worth talking about is freaking Cyberfrog or whatever Zach's going to come out with, whatever crazy idea Zach has. And by the way, Ethan will be on Friday Night Tights soon, very soon. We have the date set. And that's all and the shops are plugging along. I don't know if they're still getting government assistance or not. They're not getting a lot of help from Marvel. But Marvel's changing focus. And it looks like whatever phase we get from the MCU, it very well could be largely on D+, Disney+. I call it D+. So these rumors are conflicting again. So Doomcock, my good friend Doomcock, came out with the video yesterday. According to his sources, they are going to possibly phase out Brie. Right? That was one of them. And this might corroborate it. I don't know, but it looks like, remember when I said, and other people said this too, it's not exclusive to here. MCU, you're welcome. That was mine. But as far as this theory, a lot of people have had it. So Captain Marvel 2 is going to be filled with Avengers, filled with a bunch of other superheroes, Spider-Man, just all the A-list, because nobody's going to see a Captain Marvel solo movie. And if you're Kevin Feige, if you're so into Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, I don't want to see a single superhero in her movie. Brie Larson versus some bad guy. Do it. Do it. Nobody will fucking go. No. Apparently, here, let me get to the rumors. They're going to tie this into another. They're going to be doing possibly two of some of the biggest events in Marvel history, Secret Wars and Secret Invasion. Secret Wars and Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion was, it didn't end well. It didn't end very well. Here we go. Give me a second. I've got a lot of stuff to go over here. Oh, and we have some Doctor Who stuff to talk about too. All right, here we go. This is from something from MSN. There we go. You can see it. The massive Marvel storyline to follow Endgame will bring back Tony Stark in the best possible way. If you watch that Robert Downey Jr. Joe Rogan interview, I put a clip of it in my last video. Joe Rogan says, after a few, Marvel bombs, they figure out a way to bring back your character. Well, this looks like it's it. But by the time this comes out, like Robert Downey Jr., they're going to have to de-age him. He's getting a little old. You need to recast these roles. Marvel, don't be dumbasses. Sony had the right idea back in the early 2000s. They didn't stick with it. But instead of, they were going to recast and go like Bond. You don't change your continuity. You keep it very vague and you just recast the role. That's all. You can't, these characters are bigger than Robert Downey Jr. I know people say he is Iron Man. He is until he isn't, until somebody else comes along. I'm sure nobody thought anybody could replace Sean Connery, but Roger Moore was pretty popular. You need the characters are bigger. Same people were saying this after Heath Ledger died, and then Joaquin Phoenix shows up. Not talk about Jared, but these characters are bigger. As long as they don't bring in identity politics, they'll be fine. I just don't think Disney can really keep themselves from doing that. Marvel is reportedly working on a massive storyline that will culminate in a finale of Avengers Endgame's proportions, and Tony Stark might be part of it again. A leaker says the next phase of Marvel movies and TV shows will build up to Secret Wars storyline, which will pit superheroes and villains against alternate versions of themselves from different realities. The Tony Stark that might face the Avengers in the future will not be the character who died in Endgame, but an alternate version. Doctor Strange will supposedly become the Iron Man of Secret Wars, and he'll be at the center of everything. Avengers Endgame became the biggest Marvel movie ever, but Disney's massive success was possibly thanks to three distinct reasons. First of all, Marvel spent more than a decade building up to this universe, a universe that Disney did not start, of interconnected stories creating complex characters that people fell in love with. And they were played by actors that people fell in love with. Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and Robert Downey Jr. Of course, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. I'm sorry, Jeremy Renner. I can't, you're not Hawkeye. You look like a guy from G.I. Joe. At least the mask. You could have given us the mask. You didn't have to go purple, although I would have liked that. Hawkeye's got a cool mask. Endgame delivered in all the way the fans expected. No. Endgame wasn't very good. Infinity War was. Endgame had really good stuff in it, a lot of good fan service, but the more you watch it, the more problems it creates. And now you have to go to a multiverse. This is what DC does. Marvel doesn't do this. The film works as a standalone story, but it really shines if you also saw 21 films that preceded it. Finally, Endgame picked up on one of Infinity War's themes. The stakes are real, and the superheroes aren't necessarily going to survive. Marvel is obviously going to try to replicate Endgame's success, and that's why there's no Avengers 5 in Phase 4. We need time to become acquainted with brand new heroes that will replace the dead Avengers, as well as new Thanos-level villains. A series of leaks in the past few weeks hinted at what Marvel may be working on, confirming in part previous leaks and fan speculation. New reports from an MCU insider explained how the storyline following the Infinity Saga will unfold and how Tony Stark will be brought back to the MCU, reviving Iron Man. Reviving Iron Man would ruin Endgame, but Marvel will do it all in such a manner that Endgame's legacy will remain intact. That is, if these rumors turn out to be true. Death in a superhero movie isn't the end, and the MCU is no different. We already have seen 2 examples. Gamora. Yeah, I didn't like that example. So here we get to the rumors. And it's Mikey Sutton. Okay. I'm just reading the article. Who spoiled Marvel's secrets in the past, said in a post on his website that Secret Wars will span the MCU's next phases. That's not to be confused with Secret Invasion, which is supposedly the title of Captain Marvel 2 and a different storyline altogether. But Secret Wars will not be a 2-event film. It will last 2 Avengers episodes. Instead, they'll span, or 2 Avengers episodes. Instead, it'll span the coming MCU phases and include both films and TV series. Each new installment will tell a different part of that story, whether it's regular Marvel movie or a Disney Plus TV show. They will then be linked in a cinematic finale that might end up being as amazing as Endgame. Well, that you'd like that to happen. That sounds really good. Here's the rub. You're going to fill the next couple of movies with identity politics. We've heard, listen, this is what the creators of these films have said. This isn't just speculation. Black Widow is probably going to be a little woke, which sucks because I like ScarJo. I could be wrong, but I think it'll probably end up being a little more like Captain Marvel than Winter Soldier. And then Eternals, again, we don't know much about this movie except for some dude love, which is fine. And I just don't know how that really works in with Marvel storytelling, but whatever. We'll see if that happens. Per Sutton, the Secret Wars storyline will combine elements of comics in 1984 and 2015 version. Well, that's unfortunate because the 2015 version sucked. That essentially ended the Marvel universe for me personally. That was a fucking hot mess. And I see the Marvel continuity ending then. The villains will include Doctor Doom, Galactus, and Kang the Conqueror. That would be fucking awesome if they look like they do in the comics. But they're not always going to be the bad guys of the film. The next Thanos of the MCU will be the Beyonder, who will transport various MCU heroes, the bad guys. Now, I don't know what this is based on. It sounds fun. Why not? Let's just do a big Secret Wars with the Beyonder. Here's the problem, though. Respecting your source material. I discussed this in the Lord of the Rings video. Thanks for watching, by the way. And let me preface this for all the people who are going to get triggered. I have never been against including other people, other individuals into a film, creating new characters, building these new characters up, or using your catalog of 5,000 characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to bring in new characters. Maybe lift some of these Z-list characters up to A-list characters. Iron Man was a C-list character. Now it's an A-list character. I'm not going to say it's as popular as Batman, but he might be almost as well known now when he wasn't before. Instead, you're going to gender and race swap a bunch of characters, so they're not going to look like they did in the comic books. That is important. See, Disney thinks they can wipe the slate clean and do something new like all of Hollywood does, and they don't think people will notice or care. Problem is, you can't have the best of both worlds with that because you've got a built-in audience who's been cultivating this and loving these comics for decades. And if they go see a Fantastic Four movie and it don't look like the Fantastic Four, then it won't be accepted as the Fantastic Four. Sure, right now there are far more Marvel normies, I guess Marvel zombies. I guess we can call them Marvel zombies. That was the DC term for Marvel fans back in the day. Then there are actual comic fans, but everybody knows what Reed Richards and the Invisible Girl and the Thing and the Human Torch look like. But are they going to look like Jack Kirby's version in the comic book?
The answer will be no. Are the X-Men going to look like Jack Kirby's version in the comic? No. Now, some of the things they mentioned in this article sound brilliant, honestly. I'm not going to lie. I don't think this is going to happen, but they're talking about bringing in Fox X-Men to take on Marvel's new X-Men. So it's, yeah, I mean, fuck, yeah, that would be cool. That'd be fucking cool to see. Totally. I love it. And the thing is, though, that was just brought up in the super chat. And if it's with the Fox X-Men, that's fine. I have no problem with that shit. But as far as Tobey Maguire is concerned, signing on in Spider-Man 3 and doing just a bit part, no, I want Spider-Man 4. I think you would actually make more money. You would. Spider-Man 4, directed by Sam Raimi with Tobey Maguire, would make more money than Spider-Man 3 with Iron Boy in it. It would. You want to talk about, that's the kind of thing you need to do to bring people back to the theater. So if they leave out identity politics, which we know they won't, and if they don't, if they stay true to the source material, because that is what's behind the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. looked like Tony Stark. The Iron Man, the armor looked like fucking Iron Man, and like all versions of it, which was brilliant. The Hulk wasn't a big success at all. And it was really kind of a mediocre movie. I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay. But it was a mediocre movie. I loved the first Thor movie. Love it. And these characters looked like they did in the comic books. That was at least half of the success. But then as time went on, you go to the last Avengers film, and they're all in like these like matching white time suits, and Hulk is a freaking Birkenstock wearing hippie, and Thor is fat, and Cap is dirty all the time, and Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man, but Scarlet Witch didn't look like Scarlet Witch. The closest costume that looks, it doesn't even look halfway decent really, is Captain Marvel's costume, but I prefer the sachet myself, but I'm a big sexist toxic male, so whatever. I don't know. How do you feel about that? It sounds like, here, I'll read some of the meat from this as well. The villains include, Secret Wars will involve pretty much all existing superheroes in the MCU, including those on Disney Plus. Sound overstuffed already? Not quite, as this tale will be told throughout several movies, blah, blah, blah. The Avengers won't face themselves, but alternate versions of themselves. A Squadron Sinister. The new X-Men will face Squadron Supreme, but the new X-Men will face some of their Fox counterparts played by the original actors. The new Magneto will be on the good side of things. See, that's when your big change is going to, right there. You can't, they won't and can't portray Magneto as he was in the comic books. You want to know why? Identity politics. Nope. Think about it. Just think about it. This is where they are hemming themselves in story-wise, because they are so fucking politically correct now. You can't portray, the only people you can portray as bad right now is white people, straight up. That's it. Swedish bikers selling meth and Yahtzees. That's why you're seeing so many Yahtzees, plus they actually believe they're around every corner, which they're not. But Magneto was a bad guy, and Charles Xavier was the good guy, but now he's going to be the bad guy. And we're already kind of seeing that. I'm paying a little bit attention to that new X-Men run. Listen, I'm not reading the comic. I have no desire to. I'm not reading anything mainstream. And it might not be Professor X, but that's how they're doing things. Everything's flipped on its head because there's certain people they can't portray as bad guys anymore. The report also notes that the MCU will feature the Spider-Verse as well in collaboration with Sony. See, this sounds bloated. I would keep the Spider-Verse shit out of it. And I don't know, would Sony collab? Maybe, I don't know, which already jives with rumors that said that Kevin Feige plans cameos from Sony's previous cameos for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And yeah, we did get an MCU cameo in Morbius, which is a movie I was actually looking forward to be honest with you. I thought the trailer looked pretty good. This sounds a bit bloated. If they spread it out, it could be fun. If Disney truly wants to bring everybody back, if they want to, I don't know, stop attacking their fans, stop filling their shit with preachy politics and just make Marvel superhero movies, yeah, I think you would be successful. I don't think that would be a bad move. Do we think Disney will do this now? They might have to survive, which, I mean, it's great, but it also sucks. They did it out of desperation. They're like, fine, okay, we want the bigots back. Because that's what they think half of their audience is. Speaking of Doctor Strange, the superhero will be the Iron Man of the Secret Wars. You already said that. I hate them when they repeat themselves just to pad these fucking things. And like, listen, I only know of Mikey Sutton. I know he's like a scooper that other people have talked about. I generally, believe it or not, I generally don't give a shit about these rumors. They're fun to talk about once in a while. And, you know, I don't have a log in my head how many were true or not. But I mean, this would, there's nothing I've heard that like I hate other than this sounds bloated. Also interesting is the relationship between Stark and his local friendly neighborhood hero Spider-Man. But this time around, it'll be Miles Morales, not Peter Parker, looking at Stark as a mentor. That I don't like, because Spider-Man's Peter Parker. And Marvel's going to make a clear... Marvel is going to turn Spider-Man into Miles Morales sooner than later, folks. Good luck. Good luck with that. When Miles Morales first showed up on the scene in Ultimate Spider-Man, didn't bother me. He was in another universe. Didn't mind the character that much. I got the book. I was a Spider-Man fan, and I just saw it as a different thing. I thought potentially they might be able to bring him into the main universe, and we could do something different with Spider-Man. He could have his Robin. He could have somebody he can mentor that would have a different name, a different power set. And I think that might have brought something interesting, but of course they were just bringing him in to replace him. We'll see how much that works, because imagine like replacing Mickey Mouse. Could you do that? Because that's what Spider-Man is to Marvel. He is their brand. Peter Parker Spider-Man is their brand. Or was. For me, Marvel died the minute Disney bought him. They died at that very moment. And I talked about this. I will put this podcast up in the next week on my website. I found it. I found the podcast I did in my comic shop the day the sale happened. Kind of a mess. There's 9 people talking all over each other, and we had like one mic in an echoey comic shop. But it's interesting because some of us were pretty spot on with our predictions. Some of us were not. But yeah, it's a rumor, and we'll just take it as such. But I don't know. It doesn't sound bad. So Doomcock said Les Brie Larson. Yes. I don't know. I haven't seen anything other than, I mean, especially if they're going to, well, that's interesting. I'm working this out of my head. Sutton said that Captain Marvel 2 is going to be called Secret Invasion. And it's going to have nothing to do with Secret Wars. So what does that mean? Does that mean she's being pushed out? I don't know. We don't know for sure. We've heard that she signed some huge contract for multiple movies, but that's never been actually confirmed by anybody, I believe. And it seems to me that they really like her. The reason she came on YouTube was to rebuild her image, because she does not have a good image. She's not the most likable person in the world. So they're trying really hard to make her likable. Now, she seems the most happiest when she's talking about herself. So they said, hey, why don't you make a YouTube channel and talk about yourself? But say you're not going to talk about yourself. Okay, you're acting. Remember, sweetie, you're an actor. Act humble. Humble? Like the pie? Yeah. Average Political Joe for £2. Your last few streams, chat doesn't move. Glitch. Is it still not moving? Oh, no. God dang it. I didn't catch it earlier. It's not a glitch. It was just me. My mouse accidentally hit it. And have you seen what is going on? But thank you for pointing that out. Average Political Joe for £2. It's moving now. Fubar Panda for $5. Have you seen what is going on with the quartering and Angry Joe? It is definitely worth reporting on and kind of sad. Yeah, I don't spend a ton of time on Twitter, so I only know the details from what information I have. I watched Quartering's video, and Lady Gravemaster told me what was going on. The Quartering has been a guest on Friday Night Tights. I like Jeremy. I do not know Angry Joe. Honestly, I don't watch a lot of his content. I think the only videos I've ever watched were his Star Trek Picard reviews all the way through. I know he's a big deal on the internet, and he was part of Channel Awesome. And I know he's got millions of subs, and I know a lot of people like him, but I'm not a video game guy. Everybody's got their shtick. I respect it. What I know of the argument is through Jeremy's video, he said that Angry Joe called him an ist. And it was after they had a friendly conversation, and Jeremy offered him an Xbox, and they seemed cool. But apparently Angry Joe has been spurging out about Orange Man, and apparently Angry Joe has like raging TDS. That being said, Jeremy, I believe, shared a private DM in defense, which that's his decision. I'm not going to, he can do whatever he wants for his channel, and I'm not going to judge him for one thing. But I just don't think it's this is why I don't get involved in that shit. This is why I simply don't get involved. Once in a while, I'll get mad if somebody's accusing one of my friends like Doomcock of being something he isn't. And I got mad and I defended him. But when it comes to me personally, I'm not going to get involved in this shit ever. And one of the things I will never do, ever, is sharing personal DMs. That is a personal choice. Again, I am not judging Jeremy from the Quartering. I would happily have him back on Friday Night Tights. He is always welcome. And I am subscribed to his channel, and I watch his videos. But I would never share personal DMs, even if it was in defense, because that's a private conversation. Now, I'm not under any illusions. Every time I speak in a direct message to anybody outside of Mrs. Nerdrotic, I imagine other people are watching me write that. And I can't think of anything I've said in a DM that would get me in too much trouble anyway that I probably haven't already said on a live stream. That being said, yeah, that's just my personal rule. Because I think while it's not as bad, if you're against like doxing, which I'm against, then I'm against sharing personal DMs. I also think that kind of drama, and Jeremy mentioned it in his videos, you share subscribers with other people. There's people who subscribe to me who subscribe to John Campea. I'm not a big fan of John Campea's takes at all, but I love Robert Meyer Burnett. I don't agree with everything he says. A lot of people email me, rightly so, saying Robert Meyer Burnett said this. Do you disagree? And yeah, but I still like him because we can't be like the SJWs. You disagree with me on one thing, so you need to not exist anymore. Okay, 5-year-old. But that being said, yeah, that kind of drama, it happens. It wasn't necessary. And, Angry Joe took the first shot. I think Jeremy has every right to defend himself, especially when it's a shot like that from such a bigger YouTuber, right? That punching down shit that they always bring up. If you're calling somebody an ist, who's on one of the people on your fellow, one of your fellow YouTubers, right? That's a dangerous thing to say. For example, Project Veritas just exposed that guy who said that Yahtzees should be deleted in the street. Well, there aren't any Yahtzees on the street, but the thing is, the narrative is that if you are conservative or right wing, or you even show any kind of support for the president, or at that, you just don't hate people who support the president and you welcome in, you're considered a Yahtzee, and that can actually be dangerous. We're seeing people getting deleted now because of that. And to further that narrative in any way is actually dangerous now. And I'm usually not a proponent of that stuff. I'm not one of these guys that say video games kill people, because they don't. People kill people. But blanket statements like that, I now have to think about when I go outside with my kid. It's like I just keep my head on a swivel. Not that I'm genuinely worried too much about it, because I'm not. But I'm just a little more cautious now because I ended up on a list. Generally, I don't give a shit that I ended up on the list, but the fact that I ended up on the list might be seen by some crazy person, and that's the kind of thing you got to be careful of. You just got to be aware of it. I don't want free speech curtailed or anything like that. People are free to say what they want, but that's part of it's a byproduct of it. Freedom isn't free, baby. It costs $1.05. You got to be careful. But I hope they work it out and be friends at the end. How's that? And I know Angry Joe has lost thousands of subscribers, and I think the Quartering has, and I think that tells you everything you need to know. People don't like that. People don't like it. So hopefully they both work it out and they get on to doing what they're doing. I love what Jeremy does at the Quartering. And yeah, when he thought my channel was in trouble, some wires got crossed and he thought my channel was in trouble. Like, dude, he was one of the first people who contacted me, Jeremy from the Quartering, asking if I needed help or anything. He's a good dude. Nerd Cookies for $5. By the way, check out this channel, Nerd Cookies. Okay. Elaine at Nerd Cookies. Did a live stream with her with the author, Stephen Walton, fandom menace historian. A couple of weeks ago, had a really good time. She's got a channel that's blowing up. She likes to talk about Doctor Who, and she likes to talk about all the things I like to talk about. So please go check her out. Nerd Cookies for $5. Hey, Gary, what do you think are the odds that Jodie is the last Doctor, or do you think they'll keep doubling down into oblivion? Well, my first reaction is doubling down into oblivion. Jodie Whittaker, this is her last season, for sure. This is Jodie Whittaker's last season, whenever that is. I don't know. I think if there wasn't an anniversary coming up, Nerd Cookies, I would say she was the last Doctor, yes, as far as on TV. But there's an anniversary coming up, and I don't think they're going to pass that up. At the very least, we'll get an anniversary special, and then they might end it or reboot it or see that as something. But here's the rub. I mentioned this before. Jodie, when Jodie's, I don't know what was behind the decision. Okay, I don't know if she quit. I don't know if the BBC changed their mind. Here, I told you in my video what I was told, and the sentiment is that they don't want a white doctor. She's still a white doctor. Bill Burr brought this up when he roasted white feminism. And that was the specific thing that was brought up, was white feminism and the fact that she's got a Karen haircut, believe it or not. And will it be a black female doctor? Would it be a black? Oh, it won't be a black female doctor because they already gave us a black female doctor. And there's a reason they already gave us a black female doctor. So they can go back to a male doctor. You see, they're planning ahead. They're planning ahead. I have other news, but not now on that. But not now. You don't know though. You're going to start seeing projects canceled. I said this before. If the COOF goes into the end of the year, we're going to have a lot more to worry about than silly little pretend TV shows and comic books. And we're here. And if it goes on too much longer than this, there's going to be a lot more we're going to have to worry about. And certain states have recognized that and decided to open up. And those states will prosper. And the states that aren't opening up will take a lot longer. And there will be no federal government to bail your ass out if a certain president wins. If another one wins, then we could go, I don't want to be so negative though. I don't want to be so negative. Things could get worse, though. Butterbiscuit92 for $2. Working and listening to you tonight. Hey, Butterbiscuit, thanks for the $2. And I hope you're having a good time at work. Finbar Hooley for $5. I was rewatching EFAP 58. You should step up to the booth box from the meme video. You should step up the booth box from the meme video. What? Finbar Hooley, what did I just read right there? I'll rewatch it. Yeah, I can't remember. Was I on that one? EFAP is a great show. Mahler is upper tier YouTuber, one I respect so much that I am going to go back and check out a show I was not liking at all because he said he liked it. I'm like, all right, I'll give it another shot. I don't know if my mind's going to change on it, but Blythe Manor, I couldn't get through the first episode. It was boring, but he loved it. So I'm like, all right, when I got time, I'll go back and look at it because I love Mahler. Now I still might disagree with him. I disagree with him on Spider-Man, but I agree with him on most things. But you see, Mahler and I are these things called adults, and we can disagree on stuff and still be friends. Fascism always starts as a social construct, says Undercover Trooper for £1.99. Fascism as a social construct. I think everything does, to be honest with you. But fascism exists, but we're not in fascism. Prime example, there's rioting and looting on the streets. That would not happen in a fascist country. A fascist country would have stamped that down with an iron boot. Instead, it was just allowed to happen. And there's good and bad with that. You see, that community, it was up to that city to stop it. It's up to that state to stop it. Gavin Newsom allowed the rioting to happen in LA and in San Francisco, just like London Breed allowed it to happen. But yeah, as far as social constructs, so is socialism, and it's in practice in a way, in name only. In European countries, it's actually free market. They actually have a freer market than we do. They've just got some socialized public stuff because their countries are not homogenous, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. Or they are homogenous. Outrage mob flipping over the boys. They don't read. What are they? Modalicious for $2. No, they don't. I saw a bunch of people on Twitter saying that the show was much better than the comics, and then later on, God, I got to find the thread. The person admitted they didn't read the comic books. I was just like, you can't make this shit up. I got to find that thread. I don't know what they're flipping out about personally, but I watched The Boys, and I did not like it. I gave my review in the last live stream. You can go check it out. I thought it was a subpar season. There were moments, but overall, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't watch it again. It is so far off the source material. It should be called The Girls. All the major characters are not even defanged. They are neutered. And I don't think it has much of a future now because they went down the identity politics and intersectional feminism road. And, well, what do we get? The intersectional feminists, the woke crowd always hitches their wagon to something that's successful. Now they're not even being patient about it. They get one good season, they think they have a mandate, and then they bury a show. Westworld, Legion, Mr. Robot, Watchmen was one season. Umbrella Academy, and now The Boys. Example after example. And I said that in my live streams. I chronicled it all. I guess Drinker came out with a video. I'm going to need a few more days to get my video out. But I'm going to go over all the examples of what happened to that show as compared to the source material, which is, Perry Chan isolated a great rant by Doomcock. Go check it out on his channel. Where Doomcock essentially said what we've all been saying it, but he said it eloquently that, we're fans of the comic. That's that's that built-in fan base. Now, there wasn't a huge one for The Boys, and you can adapt it. You can make some changes, and I'm fine with some changes. But everything, I mean, AOC is a gender-swapped character. Grace is a gender-swapped character. They all the positions of power are gender-swapped, except for the dicks, you see? And also, its biggest offense, it was very CW and boring. A lot of sitting around on park benches and talking about our feelings, or sitting in diners and talking about our feelings, or sitting below pawn shops and talking about our feelings, or jerking off on rooftops. And that should have been funny. That should have been a great boys scene. And by the end, I was just all, this show's not fun. It's not fun. And then I watched all the behind the scenes clips, and that gave context to everything. Itchy Mitch, thank you for joining the Jaloja level. Hail. Ian Slater for $5. Do you think the burn in DSC will be symbolized to the real life situation? Do you think they would go that far? I am working a theory for all 3 seasons. What's DSC? I'm trying to figure out what DSC is. Ian, tell me what DSC is. I probably should know, but I don't know. So do you think the burn will be symbolized to real life situation in DSC? What is DSC? Tell me what DSC is in the chat, Ian. You don't have to super chat it. Just put it in the chat. I'll keep my eye over there. Gary, what up, dog? Throwing a shout out to you and all. Hell yeah. Thank you, Jaleel Kawas. How are you? Thank you for the $20. Back at you. I love seeing Eddie from Iron Maiden there. What's DSC, Jaleel? It's good to see you here, Jaleel. Thank you for the $20. I appreciate it. Douglas A. Burton for $4.99. Do you think the movie theater model will shift to a sports-like pay-per-view, relying on bars, perhaps restaurants, to show a flick to rowdy crowds? That wouldn't be a bad idea. I think they should try everything. And the thing is, this is what happens when these corporations get so behemoth and monolithic. It's impossible for them to move and shift and pivot on the fly, and they need to do that now. That's why small business is set to survive. But I'm going to fucking straight out say it right now. The Democratic Party in San Francisco and in California have allowed thousands of businesses to close forever so their corporate overlords can move in and take that property over, or people like Bill Gates can come in the city and buy up huge swaths of property, or the city buys the property and it becomes the property of the state. And then they start doling out. We already have Gavin Newsom mandating what companies can do with their board of with their board. Mandating inclusivity and diversity. The state mandating inclusive. For one, the companies were already doing that. They were already doing it. That's why they're not fighting it, but they need to fight it. And I tell you why they need to fight it, because once again, they are the state is using race to try to exert more power. They don't give a shit who's in those boards, but they want to get in. And once they're allowed in, you'll never, ever be able to get them out. And it's dangerous. And if everybody is so afraid of tyranny, well, what gets us one step closer to tyranny? The state controlling everything, because then the state will become God. And then everything's the state's property. And none of us remember being in a feudalism, being in that kind of a system where if you hunted the Lord's deer or the king's deer, you would die. Well, that's what it'll be now. Everything will belong to the state. And if you steal something because you're hungry, well, that'll be an offense against the state. That's stealing from the people. So you need to die. Happened in Russia. A lot of people died. But that's one step, hyperbole. No, you're letting them in. You're letting the wolf in the door. And California allows that shit. And they're also putting pork on the recovery. That's something I cover in my video. Yes, they're adding pork. Sorry, it might sound good and socially awesome, but you're preventing a recovery for everyone. And you're just for one, the state is making assumptions that all these businesses are white, which they're not. And honestly, they're making it harder on these communities because a lot of these communities have small business owners, and you're making it harder for them to recover. But you know what you are? Small business owner of color. You're the same thing my wife's business was, a small business, female owned, partially owned by a member of the alphabet community. You are a noble sacrifice to the cause of the blue, so the blue can beat the red. Your life is inconsequential. Thank you for your sacrifice, Mr. So-and-so. We forgot your name already. Bye-bye. You enter this world alone and you leave it alone. Your brothers and sisters aren't going to help you. Nobody's going to help you. You got to help yourself. You got to help yourself. And you can't rely on the state. You don't just be a cog of a cog of a cog. Man of War 665, Neighbor of the Beast for $5. Nolan's Bane was right. Kirk Spock 2020. Was he? I can't remember that. Thank you for the $5. I would be for that, but not the recast bisexual Kirk and Mike and Spock. And Spock is what we're going to get. And yeah, they're going to recast Kirk sooner than later. Kurtzman's desperate. He talked about having a plan for 7 more years. I mean, that sounded childish. I have a plan for 20 zillion more years. Whoopsie-doo. Oh, fuck. Emotionally unsustainable amphibian. I'm sorry to hear that. Welcome to the Geloja level. Hail. Oh Meow Comics for, did I say that right? It says O-M Meow. So Oh Meow Comics for $5. Back. Oi! Bardic Fury 4. The Banshee Vale Horror Show live on Indiegogo. Oi is fantasy manga about bards and druids in Iron Age Ireland. Check it. Hail. Please check it out. It's called Bardic Fury 4, the Banshee Vale Horror Show. That's funny. Part of that is the name of my comic. I may or may not dust it off. I'm actually going to leave it up to you. Melissa thought it was a good idea. But yeah, please check it out. I'm sorry. Indiegogo, it's called the Banshee Vale Horror Show, and it's Bardic Fury 4. Thank you for the $5. Golden Brem, if you need a sound bite for your I read this one already. Okay, groovy. Okay, we got another article to get to. Got another, because I promised this one. I'm going to save the BBC stuff to last because it's dark. And it'll turn off viewers probably. But it needs to be talked about. It absolutely needs to be talked about. And I hate being the fucking moral police. I'm not Mr. Moral. All right? I'm not. Get your freak on by all means. If you're an adult, if it doesn't hurt anybody, go for it. But, dude, normalization. It usually happens through, really good intentions. Let's sound like good ideas. Okay, yeah, we'll go to this boys article real quick. The Boys Season 3 could play out differently after the election. Yep, it most certainly can. Showrunner Eric Kripke considers the Season 2 finale and future of Amazon series The Boys Season 2 ended with happy endings and atomic tragedy in a season that found room to skewer the gamut of American culture trash from white supremacy to corporate-backed superhero movie hack work that you fucking love, Access Media, you pieces of shit. Wait a minute. The gamut of American culture trash, and it's just white supremacy and corporate superhero movies? Is that the gamut? What about Antifa? What about Democratic policies? What about a presidential candidate who likes to let children rub hair on his legs and smells people? What about, a candidate whose teeth pop out? I mean, you certainly talked about the other candidate, but you never talked about a single issue. You clowned Hollywood a little bit about, casting gay characters, but you guys didn't understand the context of that. They were clowning them that they weren't, that Marvel wasn't inclusive enough. It wasn't clowning Hollywood. It was clowning Disney for not being inclusive enough. So brought his Amazon Eric Kripke brought his Amazon series back down to earth in the final installment and drilled down into the characters' psyches until it drew blood. Butcher, Homelander, and the rest of the warring ensemble will never be the same, even if a few of them think everything's peachy. I'm trying to think what's really different from the end of season 2. For most of season 1, Butcher thought his wife was dead, and then she wasn't, but now she's dead. So he's in the same place he was in season 1. Butcher didn't grow as a character. He didn't change. He became a little darker, maybe, which is what he was. See, he wasn't the Butcher from the comics. Homelander is still crazy. He's just a little more in check, but he didn't grow as a character or change. He's just still Homelander. Becky's dead. The female watched her brother die. She still doesn't talk, but she got to dance. So I guess that's growth. Frenchie, we got some background, but he just roots on the female. So I don't know. Mother's Milk is a chauffeur that gives people attaboys. And he got to give his daughter a penguin, but I don't know what his character growth was. Yeah, I mean, the access media says a lot of shit. Saying shit doesn't make it real. I don't know if they even fucking watch these shows. I am guessing most of them don't. They'll watch pieces here and there on their cell phone when they're in line at Whole Foods getting their soy sandwich or whatever the fuck they get. And then they go home and they watch a YouTube clip or they watch fucking Charlie on Emergency Awesome describe the show to you. And then you write an article that is partially filled with things that Amazon wants you to say. I mean, this is Polygon. It's fucking trash. So the gamut of America, white supremacy. Yeah, this narrative that we made up over the last 4 years that stems from communism, the Communist Party, the Marxist Communist fucking party. We decided to use that because it was a fail-safe, basically, and consequences be damned. That there's more nuance to this stuff, and we're just gonna straight up call. I mean, where do you go from there? They have been amping this up for years and years and years. There isn't large numbers of white supremacy groups anywhere, but they think you are. They think I am. They think young Ripa is. They think just some guy is. And it's it's little pieces of shit like Eric Kripke who don't really believe in any of this stuff, but it is vogue right now. It is in. So I'm just going to roll with what's in. Talented show writer. Yeah. But I don't know shit about this guy. He probably does, to be successful in Hollywood right now, you have to be talented, but more importantly, you have to know how to compromise, suck on the knob, bend the knee, and bullshit. That goes way before talent. Look at Alex Kurtzman. How did he get his job? Except riding on those little coattails of his mentor, Jar Jar Abrams. It wasn't because of the talent. It was because of his association to some numbers that were successful. Kripke, people liked him. He did Supernatural. That was a good show. I liked it. Was it the greatest show ever made? No. It was the most non-CW CW show for a little while. That was about it. It was also, as brought up, pretty fucking butch, pretty manly. And all of a sudden, Eric Kripke, everybody's a male feminist now, and they were raised gender neutral. Do you fucking believe any of this shit? These are These are fucking posers. Posers. So, yeah, fuck Eric Kripke. I don't even want to read the rest of this. Oh, yeah. The burning question, how does the show so deeply connected to the political and social landscape deal with the impending election between Trump and Biden? In broad strokes, the boys will be the boys. Find out more about Kripke's thoughts in season 2 ending and below. Blah, blah, blah. We're not making any statement about AOC at all. So, by the way, for those of you who think they were turning the flipping it a little bit, they're not. He says it right here. We're not making any statement about AOC at all. As we were designing the season, it came from a simple screenwriting math. Let's talk about the character you would least expect to create the biggest surprise. And that's it. That's it. That's exactly the thought that went into Arya killing the Night King. It subverted your expectations. But the thing is, it didn't. When I saw it revealed, I went. And then we built a backstory and biography that will reveal in season 3 and why she's doing what she's doing and how she's not who we think she is. So it just came from that. So I'll tell you, this is woke storytelling. So she's either working for Vought and a bad person being manipulated by a man, or an ultra powerful woman making the necessary calls that she needs to make that men can't. Frankly, my hesitation in the room was like, I don't want people to think we don't love AOC because we love AOC. But we ultimately decided that the drive of the story had to come first. AOC, who wants to defund the police, by the way. The police that protect their sets, the police that protect their studios, that give them escorts, that protect their award shows. They want them defunded. And by all means, defund any protection of Hollywood. Please. I don't want to pay for that shit. Okay. So as so often is the case with the boys, the people who consider heroes often deceive us. Evil lurks everywhere in systems of power. You mean even like AOC? On that note, will November elections have an impact on season 3? Is it the same show regardless of who's in power? A fascinating question. And we have discussed it. I've never been asked it. Listen to this. I've never been asked this. I've never been asked this question. You want to know why you've never been asked this question, Eric Kripke? Because you're not talking to the right fucking people. You're talking to some political fucking hack at Polygon. You're talking to an activist or a hacktivist, and you're not talking to a nerd. You're not talking to somebody who might enjoy your show, a large number of which you're alienating now with your talk. But we've discussed it internally. If, God willing, you don't believe in fucking God, Biden wins, the show might air in a setting of more stability and sanity and start to live as a historical document of the derangement of the Trump years rather than the up to the minute current depiction. It's interesting that he put that word and that word in the same sentence. I was talking about it with another producer, and I was saying, look, the show works because we write about whatever's happening right now. And that's the problem with Hollywood. Laziness. And the thing is, they think this is a reflection of the world instead of a reflection of the world that they see. During season 2, we wrote a whole issue that's happening in season 2 about being written a year and a half, 2 years ago. And they just happens to be also current day. No, you guys just keep fucking recycling shit. The show continues to grow into its own thing, having ties to Garth Ennis' original comic book. How is the Butcher reflective of the changes you're making? Do you think he's on the same path as the comic version of the character? It's actually funny. While we make a lot of changes from the books, we really try hard to keep the tone. Garth's book is like a scathing satire of post 9/11 America. And obviously we live in a very different era, so we've had to adjust a lot of our story and targets to reflect what is happening today. In terms of the Butcher, it's funny. I see my interpretations of the Butcher in the comics as reasonably similar. Nah. Yeah. I'm not going to, there's things I can't say that I'd love to say about Garth Ennis. Just think, hypocrite will come to mind. Hypocrite. But I love Derek. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna read some super chats, and we're gonna get to the dark shit. Okay, sorry, but it's gonna get dark. It's gonna get dark, and I'll try to end it on a happy note. I probably should have thought about that, but I'll think of a happy note to round it up on. So, where did I leave off? Okay. I like my coof like I like my women. Oh, okay. This is a super chat. Super chat from Handshot First for $5. Your reaction to this may vary. I like my coof like I like my women. 19 and easily spread. That is toxic. That is fucking toxic, dude. Akun 1876. Remember when you could tell jokes? My God, that would trigger so many people right now. Amazingly enough, I'm not. Thank you for joining the Jaloja level. I appreciate you. Hail, Gary. We too left the Bay Area for Missouri in late July. Never been happier. The exodus is real. Bye-bye, Newsom, says Sin G for $5. It is real. CalExit is a beautiful thing. We're going to continue it every damn day, and we're going to continue talking about it. So, yeah, I told that joke and we lost viewers. But it's fine. It's fine. Sorry, viewers. I laugh at that stuff. It's funny. We got to laugh, because if we don't laugh, especially after I read you this next story, if we don't laugh, nobody's going to laugh. There was a vote. By the way, congratulations on getting the hell out of this state. I wish I could be out of here now. There was a vote in Congress about establishing Jefferson, but it was scheduled for December 8th, 1941. Something big happened the day before to postpone it. I remember Flashy Vic. Oh, I wasn't there. I know I'm old, but I wasn't there. I read that. Yes. I think eventually it could happen. If that part of the state can, because it's really different. Like, it's really different. And Gavin Newsom is a San Franciscan dude. He is not a Californian. He's a San Franciscan. They are two completely fucking different things. I mean, like, a Californian in a lot of ways is different from, and listen, we're so fucking arrogant over here. When we go abroad, we say we're Californian and not American. And apparently that makes a difference. I'm an American. Gavin Newsom will never be president. He made national headlines for blaming the wildfires on global warming. Zelina SW, I mentioned that in my video. I mentioned how even the LA Times agreed with the Orange Man on his take on fires. And by the way, Zelina, he did it again in his last press conference. His whole last press conference, because the one I'm covering is his second to last one. His last one, he had his jacket on and he was in the forest, and he fucking doubled down because he's a San Franciscan. He's not a Californian. Beginning of days for £5. Nerdrotic, you're the best. Got YouTube channel Beginning of Days. Okay, it's called Beginning of Days. It's all one word. Dedicated to J.R.R. Tolkien. Ready to defend Númenórean lore against Amazon LOTR TV series. Good for you. Hail, brother. I will fucking subscribe to your channel. Bring on the Lord of the Rings lore. That's my happy place, man. That's before I go to bed at night, I listen to a little bit of Lord of the Rings on BBC lately, and it just levels me out right there. The BBC Lord of the Rings radio show was so good. I mean, it's kind of like Stairway to Heaven to me now. I watched a couple of your videos, and you got my sub today. And here's a tenner. Keep doing what you do. Hail! Thank you. Oh, it's Dolores Ed. I recognize that mug. Yeah, fuck, he died. I just remembered he died. That sucks. Thank you for the $9.99. Hail. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I did not check. Not a blog today. Hang on. Let's see if, nope. George R. R. Martin hasn't posted anything since the 7th, since he got his birthday present. He hasn't complained about football or anything. He complained about the president, though. Could you imagine what the president would say about George R. R. Martin? At least I finished my books. Gary equals Oracle Spider-Man confirmed. Finbar Hooley for $2. Yes. David H for $5. Rod Stewart is shipping his famous huge model train collection back to England. Cal isn't just losing the average citizen. Celebs are fleeing as well. Yes. Simon Cowell sold 3 of his 4 mansions. He is heading back. A bunch of celebs, this hasn't been reported, but a bunch of celebs are moving to New Zealand. Not just Greece. Yeah, they are really bugging out. They are bugging out. And the biggest difference is public confidence. You know, the Consumer Confidence Index? Well, something we've never really had to deal with in this country that's not true. In modern times, we have not had to deal with politician confidence index and system confidence index because our system was solid. Had a bumpy road in the 60s. Since then, it's been pretty solid. In certain states, it's not. I have no question. By the way, if I look outside, the sky is blue, birds are chirping, people are going to work. I went and got coffee. The power grid is on, internet is working. It's not the fucking end of the world. It's not the apocalypse. But there is in LA, in San Francisco, in Seattle, in Portland, in some American major cities, a loss in confidence of the police department and local politicians. The local politicians actually believe that they are free of consequence. They think they are doing the right thing. They think they're going to stay in office after this. No. Not everybody's going to go burn shit down. Most of us are just going to go to that fucking ballot box and vote that asshole or ass hat out. And the Brits are going to leave. But it ain't going to be much better for you guys if you stay locked down too much longer. There's already people getting a little restless over there. Gen X only good generation, LOL, says Super Toad 1 for £2. I don't know about that. I listen, there's a lot of us who are great. Absolutely. And there's baby boomers that I like. But quite frankly, our generation has a lot to answer for right now. Because I'm seeing a lot of aging punk rockers running around and, well, they're either defending the system and telling you to follow the rules and put your mask on and be a good little subservient number and cog in the machine, which that's like the most unpunk rock thing you can possibly fucking do. And then they'll root on the rioting and looting, which is probably a little more consistent with the anarchy part of them or not. But that's only in the name of the system, to replace the system, the established system. And that's not, the system is not the dude in the White House. The system is the state of deep. It is the media. It is the system controls all information, controls all entertainment, and controls all our big cities. That's the system, the one that they're defending. The one that they're defending. Johnny Lydon went MAGA. That's more punk rock than anything else in this bizarro world that we're living in. And I remind you once again, Johnny Ramone was a Republican. So if you want to sit there and go, well, it wasn't Sex Pistols, it was the fucking Ramones first, which I'm not going to argue with. Well, Johnny Ramone was a Republican. Phoenix Tangent for $5. Gaming news, really? But Sony will be recording all of our conversations in voice chat once you agree to it on the PS4 to manage problematic gamers. Maybe that's why I don't know. My son plays the console stuff, but not much anymore. He is a PC gamer. My sons are PC gamers, and I will probably be a PC gamer if I game in the future. But I mean, yeah, that's weird. No, we're heading towards control. We need to fight it wherever we can. Remember when it was a conspiracy theory that they're going to put like some kind of microchip or something in you, and now they're talking about actually fucking doing that with the coof? I mean, at what point do you start like actually waking up to shit? Honestly. Like, if you didn't know the fix was in when Nancy Pelosi got busted with their mask on and then salons opened up in San Francisco, like right after that. I mean, if you're not like just fucking openly convinced that, oh shit, maybe the party I was supporting is full of crap and doesn't really care about me. This is a realization we all got to come to at some point in time. If I saw it from the other side, I'd be calling that out just as much. But this level of hypocrisy and what she did, she could have avoided. She could have got her hair done outside or privately in her home. No, she wanted to exert her power. That's exactly why she fucking did that. For her status, to get her little fucking rush of power. Nancy could have done this in her hotel room. They could have brought in a fucking blow. Somebody could blow you out in a hotel room, in a sink. No, but Nancy Pelosi wanted her status. She wanted people to run around and serve her, because she needs that in her life constantly, because that's what she's used to, because she is a member of government and they are above us. It's the government class. You want to watch my video tomorrow. Mikey Gussler for $5. Reliable source says that Leto is talking with Warner Brothers at AT&T to star in a Joker Harley Quinn film. Ayer also shared VFX work on his cut for Suicide Squad. Thoughts? I like David Ayer. I really like his sexualized version of Harley Quinn because Margot Robbie did a good job playing it. Personally, I don't like that costume, though. I like the original one better. I would be interested in watching the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. Honestly, more interested in that than I would be the Snyder cut, because I think Suicide Squad actually had great potential to be a great movie and just wasn't. It looked fun, had a good trailer. Yeah. I really am a fan of his film Bright that was on YouTube. I mean, not YouTube, on Netflix. Fucking love Bright. A great movie. Unsung movie. I like that. I like it when they mix the genres like that. It's a ridiculous concept, and sometimes I like ridiculous concepts when you mix Training Day with Lord of the Rings. Yeah. I mean, it was way more Training Day and not as much Lord of the Rings, but they talked about a Dark Lord. But yeah, I'd be interested, Mikey. I would. Latino Slant, what's up? Paulie, $9.99. Hail. Tio Gary's stream got cut by CBS for playing a trailer of The Stand. Yes, it will. It's become my most watched video since. Speaks to our thirst for entertainment and rage against the entertainment machines. Yeah, I'll be interested to watch The Stand. I'm guessing they're going to mix in a lot of real world shit and fuck it up. But I love the TV movie of The Stand that came out before. So we'll see. We'll see. And isn't Skarsgård playing Randall Flagg? He is. I dig him. I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but I used to love the HBO show True Blood. That's right. I used to like it until its last season where it just fucking shit all over the fans. And now I hate the show. Notice Netflix is offering a lot of dubbed foreign features. Are they running out of content? Maybe. But did you know they got rid of their 30-day free trial in the United States? It's gone. It's gone. Signor Nessuno, thank you for the $10. Bobby Sharps for $5. G-Dog, we're not fighting a business or a government. It's a religion of wokeness that never ever changes ideas, moral relativism, and zealotry. Absolutely. Then that's what we're fighting. We are fighting fucking zealots. Maybe Hollywood should have elections and term limits. Dr. Till for $5. I absolutely agree with that. You know what? We'll be their motherfucking term limits because we are the customer and we decide what we like. And we have rejected you, Hollywood. So good luck trying to rebuild your town with a third to a half of your fan base pissed at you. And you know what? You're going to think you're not pissed, and then you're going to see Patton Oswalt. So one of the things that we will, because this happens all the time, by the way, all the stars that you saw getting uber political, most of them, unless they're already really established, their careers are over. Their careers are over. I could go down a list. Where stars get super political and they become the thing of the moment, and then they're wasted and gone forever. And if they just, I don't know, even been respectful, they'd be okay. But it's not just political, by the way. You can get political and still be respectful, and people aren't going to get mad. Robert Downey Jr. gets political, but he doesn't like straight up, call you an asshole that I know of. But he's also well established. But when you start like straight up calling your paying customers assholes and we don't want you around anymore, then they tend to not come around anymore. Gruesome Newsom destroys California theme parks. Also, have you seen any Magical Girl Friendship Squad clips? It's a sci-fi new adult animated comedy. Red Wolf Corp revamped for $5. I only saw what Young Ripa showed on his video, and that was enough. It was funny. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Apolloni's Minion for $5. Here is a few dollars to keep the streams going. Your gift is coming along. We'll be seeing you soon in Las Vegas. Good luck with everything. Yes, as of now, still going. Still going. I am going. Even if we got to meet at if we go meet in a sitting area in some casino, where it's usually like a bar or a stage that's not being used I don't care. I'll figure it out. But I'm going. Fuck it. I bet you there's a place. I don't want to say it out loud, but I'm guessing I could probably rent a place that's outside where we can be responsible and hang out and not be super spreaders. I don't want to be a super spreader. If you wish to read Marvel's Secret Invasion, don't. I already did, buddy. Go buy secondhand the Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes animated series on DVD on Blu-ray. They handled the story so much better in the comics. I could not agree. If you guys haven't heard of that, right before Marvel was sold to Disney, they did a cartoon called Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It is the best Avengers cartoon ever made. It was right up there. It was as good as Justice League Unlimited. It was that fucking good. Now, is it the best Marvel cartoon ever made? No, that is X-Men, the animated series, and then followed closely by Spider-Man, the animated series, and then followed closely by the Spectacular Spider-Man, which was really fucking good too. As soon as Disney took over, the characters changed for the worse. Derek McManus for £2. Going all in. Dave Cullen on Friday Night Tights. We are trying. We are trying very hard to get him on. Okay. It's time for the darkness, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. So fair warning. I Somebody asked me to make a video about this. I'm just going to talk about it in the live stream. I need to find out more about it. I'm actually reading this whole article for the first time along with you guys. I'm going off a headline, but I'm guessing I'm not going to like what I hear. Oh. Where did it go now? Hang on. There we go. Now, the reason I waited till the end, because this is going to get us demonetized immediately. And right now, normally I don't trip on that stuff, and I understand that that's the last thing you want to hear. And I get it. And I try not to talk about it too much. But right now, like, my family is living without a net. Listen, we've always been small business owners so that life is living without a net, but having to rely on YouTube to pay our bills is not a place I want to be very long. I really don't. But what Melissa does right now is she goes back to San Francisco every couple of weeks to do some clients up there, and then she does some work down here, and it's fucking exhausting. And she has to drive. She has to drive to each of those houses. She doesn't have an assistant. She usually has an assistant. She's like running in all her own equipment and everything. Yeah. And, but that's what we have to do. We don't have a fucking choice. We don't have some magic fucking fairy dust that's going to bail us out. We can't pick money off the fucking money tree. And we're not Ben Shapiro and Joe Rogan, who are making noble sacrifices by leaving California, and good for that. I don't blame them. And they're going to probably make a lot more money getting the hell out of here, because there's no reason to be here. All the stuff that was cool about the state is gone. It's gone. But this is some shit. This is some shit. And I'm guessing there are some people really pissed off. In the UK right now. All right. Now you're thinking, who's Jimmy Savile? Jimmy Savile is, he's fucking Hitler. He's Hitler. He's that bad of a dude. One of the worst of the fucking worst. Scumbag of the planet. The only sorry thing is that it took so long for him to die. And I don't like to wish death on people, but this guy abused and hurt a lot of kids permanently for the rest of their lives. You cannot measure how much damage he and everyone at the BBC who fucking let it happen did. And a lot of people are running around to this very day free as a fucking bird, who should be in jail for helping this dude out. I don't know all the details. I've watched documentaries. It's fucking dark. It's hard to watch. Johnny Rotten tried to fucking tell us. By the way, I fucking love Johnny Rotten. Now that's a dude I would have on a show. I would love to talk to him. Fucking love to talk to Johnny Rotten. He'd probably hate it though. He'd probably hate me, hate it, and that's what I love about him. But Johnny Rotten really fucking tried to. He's like the one guy who had the balls to fucking say anything when people refused to say stuff. He was a presenter in the UK, and he was a well-known diddler of kids. Now the BBC wants to make a drama about him and fucking monetize it. And it could be the most scathing drama in the world. I get it. And I'm going to hear it's about the context, Gary, just like with cuties. I get the fucking context. Believe me, I probably get it more than you. And I don't say that very much, but believe me, I get the fucking context. But you're making a docudrama. What's your whole purpose? Is it a documentary or is it a docudrama? Then that is entertainment. You are using all the people he abused. All of them. You are exploiting them so you can make a few bucks. Because this is monetizing it. And the fact that they announced it and they don't see anything wrong with it. And again, it could be the most scathing docudrama, and I guess it's going to be. They're going to like show the entire truth and show like, oh, it gets the word out of him. That's good. Oh, that's good. Then make a documentary. Make a documentary and hold yourself accountable, BBC, because the BBC was the one who allowed this shit, was the organization that allowed this shit to happen. And apparently they cleaned house and they took care of business. And I hope they did. And I doubt anybody is there right now who was there before. And do I want the BBC canceled? Yes, but for other reasons. I just think this is, this is just my opinion on this. I would make a documentary. I wouldn't dramatize anything. You know what I'm saying? And it's still a form of entertainment, and you're still monetizing. I mean, did the BBC take care of every single kid that was diddled by this fool? I doubt it. I doubt they know. I mean, I just asking, are you sure this is a good idea? And it might be. I don't fucking know. But my first reaction is fuck this shit. Again, documentary, fine. Docudrama? Are you going to hand out? Could you see they hand out like an award for best acting for the guy who played Jimmy Savile? Are they going to get Kevin Spacey to play him? Probably a good idea. The BBC has announced its plans for a miniseries about this disgraced late TV personality Jimmy Savile. The Reckoning, which will be shown on the BBC One. Are you going to get a Reckoning, BBC? Will tell the story of the presenter's rise in sexual abuse scandal that emerged after his death. Executive producer Jeff Post said it was a story that had to be told. He said, "We must understand why a man like Jimmy's." Oh, okay. Do we? We must understand why a man like Jimmy Savile seemed to remain immune for so long to proper scrutiny and criminal investigation. Are they going to say it's a racism? Are they going to say it's white privilege? Do you think that's how they're going to put it instead of economic privilege? Well, I'm curious to see how much they will incriminate themselves. It is not yet known who will be cast in the lead role. Savile was one of the UK's top entertainers for the 70s and 80s, known for TV shows like Top of the Pops and Jimmy'll Fix It, as well as stints on BBC Radio 1. After his death in 2011, an ITV documentary investigated claims of sexual abuse against him, leading to further allegations of abuse and a string of public inquiries. These found that the broadcaster had leveraged his involvement in organizations such as charities, hospitals, prisons, kinky, a fucking dark ass motherfucker, and the BBC to prey on hundreds of people. What a fucker. Mostly vulnerable young females. Prisons. Sensitivity and respect. The BBC drama controller, Piers Vanger. Oh, there's our boy. Piers Vanger. You think this guy couldn't decide on whether to go to the bathroom or not? I wouldn't have him involved in something like this. Said the new drama did not intend to sensationalize these crimes, but to give voice to his victims. Really? Then why not do a documentary and let the victims speak for themselves? Why are you having somebody write a script? Are you going to maybe put this on a streaming service and possibly sell it and license it and make a few bucks off it? You're monetizing this, you fucking pieces of shit. He said, listen, they have the right, they have the freedom to do it. They have the right to do it. They're scumbags. I'm just saying they're scumbags. He said, we will work with the survivors to ensure their stories are told with sensitivity. Really? So the survivors going to have, can they make script changes directly? And will respect and to examine the institutions in which Jimmy Savile was associated with and the circumstances in which these crimes took place. Drama has the ability to tackle sensitive, realized subjects and listen to these self-important assholes and consider the impact of a crime on its survivors and what lessons can be learned to stop it ever happening again. So let's make a film we can make some money off of. Let's monetize our horrors from the past. In 2016, an independent investigation found that the BBC missed opportunities to stop monstrous abuse by the presenter and DJ because of a culture of fear. The Dame Janet Smith review identified 72 victims of Savile in connection with his work to the BBC, including 8 who were draped. 11 of his victims were younger than 12 years old, and the BBC let it happen. And those 70 fucking 2 victims are the only ones we know about. They estimate there's a lot more. And they estimate people from the BBC were in on it. Not just afraid to say something, we're straight up in on it. The BBC missed opportunities to stop abuse? No, the BBC covered fucking up shit. The BBC was also criticized for dropping a Newsnight investigation into the sexual abuse claims, which was then picked up by ITV. The BBC's former Director General George Entwistle later admitted to MPs this had been the wrong decision. Oh, you fucking think so? The Reckoning will be written by Neil McKay, who is also behind Appropriate Adult, the BAFTA-winning drama about a serial killer, Fred West. Oh, I wonder if this is going to win a BAFTA. Can you see Neil McKay? I'd like to thank all the 72 victims of Jimmy Savile's crime for allowing me the opportunity to write a script that I can win an award for. Thank you for your sacrifice. He and Pope also worked on Moorside about the disappearance of Shannon Matthews and the forthcoming 4 lives on the murders of the murder of 4 young gay men by Stephen Port. Listen, I know they dramatize shit like this all the time. I understand it. I do. I know they did a John Wayne Gacy doc, and I know. I just, when it comes to the kid shit, I have a line personally. I do. I didn't watch the John Wayne Gacy shit either. But this guy, I think the most despicable thing about this is it's the BBC. If another organization was doing a documentary or a docudrama, I may feel differently if they work with the victims and stuff, but this is being done by the BBC. You want to know why the BBC is doing it? So they can control the information. So they look like they just made a mistake or some racism by their former, the head of content. We made some mistakes. We were dumb, not complicit. I mean, that's just a guess, but I'm guessing the BBC is not going to, criminalize themselves in their own documentary. I don't think I'm going out on a fucking limb by saying that. Defund the BBC. Fuck these fuckers. Burn in hell, dude. I can't even look at that fucker. Sorry. Again, I get upset. Like, again, there's just not many lines I cross. And as far as, and I think I said my piece there, it's the BBC making this a drama I have a serious fucking problem with. And so do a lot of the people on Twitter. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, Lady Gravemaster. Also, somebody directly hit me up on Twitter. I want to make sure to give him the credit he needs. Let me scroll down. Give me a moment because I want to give him a shout out. Thank you for I love it. Thank you, everyone who emails and sends me this stuff. I mean, I got a ton of emails on this too. So there it is. So Bond Aston Martin sent me this about 6 hours ago. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, it's fucking bad news. So I got to wrap things up. We're at a little over 2 hours, folks. I'm gonna read a couple super chats and give you a little bit of Doctor Who news, and then we out of here. Game over. Sky 7. Oh boy, that's supposed to say something. Game over. Scythe. Game over Scythe for $5. MC Uterus. Ah, yes, the MC Uterus. Gary, I absolutely need a Marvel movie with Rufus Sewell sporting a Jerry curl mullet, wearing a Michael Jackson Captain EO jacket as the Beyonder. Oh, fuck yeah. If he looks like the Beyonder, like straight up, I mean, I always imagined the Beyonder was Jim Shooter. I just thought it was Jim Shooter. Yes. I need that. Overkill 161 for 99 cents. Thanks for the poop. Chris Latito for welcome to the Jaloja membership. Hail. Member live streams. Your members are going to get some added stuff starting in December. January. Kind of liked Boys finale. Homelander and Billy were good fathers. Real? Huh? And the girl fight made sense. Far better than Endgame moment. JML 2012 for $5. How were they good fathers? By not killing somebody in front of their kid? They abandoned the kid. They gave him to the state. So is that a good father now by handing off the kid? Yeah. The girl fight didn't make sense. I disagree. I think it would have made sense if it was the female fighting Stormfront by herself. I think they actually took away from her story so they can show people kicking Nazis in the streets. Because like they fantasize. Hollywood fantasize. Because listen, these are a bunch of fucking rich, affluent white people who have hijacked what was probably legitimate concerns by our friends in other communities, we'll say. Okay. So there's some legitimate concerns. And I would love to talk about these legitimate concerns, but these concerns always get hijacked by some communist Marxist organization or some other shit. And then I got to focus on that. And I'm sorry. Whatever conversation we could have before, can't have now because I'm too busy worried about my fucking family and people getting shot in the street and shit like that. And I don't want it to get much worse. And unfortunately, they're going to keep acting up, and then the federal government is going to have to stamp down on them at some point. It can't be allowed to go on, or it will just go on forever. Now, it is clear that in California, they would allow it to go on forever. They would allow it to go. Gavin Newsom made no effort to stop this shit. And I love how nobody's talking about the rioting and looting anymore. They're like, oh, people are leaving because of the fires. Nobody gives a fuck about fires in California except, listen, sorry for the people whose homes have burned down, but like shit burns here every summer. Every summer shit burns here. And it wouldn't have burned as bad if fucking Gavin Newsom did the work he was supposed to do on the forest. But shit burns here. But these affluent assholes in Hollywood feel guilty. They do. Eric Kripke, you got to be neurotic enough to want to make pretend for a living. And then you get obscene amounts of money. And then you got to work out in your life when you get to travel and you see people digging a hole for water or pissing in the fucking streets or eating out of a dumpster, like how you're living so large for essentially, as far as humanity goes in the big picture, doing something that's meaningless. Especially when you write The Boys. So you try to make it mean something. You got to work it out. So I've got to make this mean, and it does. If you simply entertain people and make them laugh and make them come together and stuff, that is really meaningful shit. It really is. And I think maybe it's a little on us for not telling them that enough, but it is meaningful shit. Although we do. But no, they got to find some importance and relevance and they turn it into a platform. So they feel like, so they actually can rationalize it in the head when they get in that writer's room and make obscene amounts of money while people are fucking starving for making pretend. They feel like they're actually making the world a better place. Watch the first season of Silicon Valley. The first season of Silicon Valley, it's a scathing fucking satire and parody of Silicon Valley. And apparently it is fucking accurate as fuck. As far as I know, it is. But you can relate that to Hollywood too. And the whole theme of season 1 is making the world a better place through an app that finds your parking for you or finds a hooker for you or something. I mean, it's that kind of bullshit that we're dealing with. Eric Kripke, listen, he's at the top of his game. He's a successful guy and he thinks he's fucking right. And he's not. He's not. I mean, like, is there anything more hypocritical than a rich guy who thinks he's a man of the people, but he's actually all about the system? He's all about the system and thinks he's a rebel, but he works for the $1 trillion company. The $1 trillion company. And he talks about bringing down the system again when he is the system. Finbar Hooley for $5. In the meme video, Mouth of Smiler by Plagued Creations, you were in a booth that looked like your office. Oh, yeah. Yes, I was. Oh, do we have to update it now? I remember. Yeah, I got on a EFAP, this poster. I think I still have it. Hang on. It's fucking awesome. They have me as a dwarf, though, which I'm fine with. I'm totally fine with that. Do I have it here? Yeah, it's got Anna and Mahler and Rags. God, I forgot who this one is. Hang on. Before I go, I will show you this. This picture is fucking great. I forgot who did it, though. Oh, one of these days, I'm going to be able, like, we can have a properly produced show where, like, they're getting me the articles and I don't have to pull it up. It'd be awesome. The Babylon Bee. Oh, their headline. Oh, this is from Valned. This is from the Babylon Bee. I laugh because it's true. Whoops. Shit. You didn't need to see that. This is why I need a producer. That's just my notes. That's what you want to see. Bum, bum, bum. Who? Sorry, I shouldn't be reading news while I'm in. Here we go. This is good. Amazon's new Lord of the Rings series to include bisexual transgender elf in a wheelchair. Seattle, Washington. According to a new announcement from showrunners, Amazon's new Lord of the Rings television series will include its first disabled bisexual transgender elf character. Tolkien's story is timeless and beloved epic, but let's face it, it was written by a white Catholic guy. Totally ew, said Phoenix Glitterfox. Phoenix Glitterfox. With any beloved culture juggernaut like this, it's important that we hollow it out by its insides until it's just a shell before filling it in with postmodernism, political messages of our choosing. Oh, do you think they watched my video? In order to make Tolkien's masterwork more accessible to modern audiences, Amazon's new show will feature a healthy dose of nihilism, nudity, and themes reflecting the latest woke politics. It's time to have an honest conversation about the more problematic aspects of Tolkien's work, said Glittervox. Honestly, it's trash. We only hitched our wagon to it because it's a lucrative intellectual property we can cram our political messages into. Bless fucking the Babylon Bee. Everybody go to the Babylon Bee and just support them because they're the only fucking sane thing left on this planet. It's time to have an honest conversation about the more problematic aspects of Tolkien's work, says Glittervox. Honestly, it's trash. Oh, I already read that one. In service of these guiding principles, showrunners have proudly introduced Middle-earth's first disabled bisexual gender elf known as Idrix. Idrix is a fascinating character. We will follow her as she navigates the rigid political structures of Middle-earth while facing discrimination, racism, and ableism. To our knowledge, there aren't any shows out that explore the important themes like this. Yes, like, is it ADA or ADL? Like, are castles ADL compliant? Is she gonna go to Rivendell and fight for wheelchair ramps? Because we need that. We asked for comment. Amazon CEO Bezos confirmed he doesn't care about what showrunners do with the thing as long as it makes money. Also, make sure it has lots of nudity and killing in it because that's like Game of Thrones. Fans around the world are praying for Jesus to come back before the show is released. Yes! Yes. Fucking God. Freaking. All right. Thank you. The further left you go, the more right you end up, says Ray Young, 74 for £5. Yeah, it's like, this goes, like I said, this goes beyond, this goes way fucking beyond partisan politics. This is actual consequences. This is real lives. Like, Melissa wasn't this political animal. You know, she pays attention. She knows what's going on in the world, but she's probably like most people. I'm too busy fucking working. And unless something affects my life directly, I'm not too worried about it. But now we all have to be worried about it. Right. And I was kind of the same way too. Listen, well, I always tried to be understanding, have a sympathetic ear, be into unity, but we can't be there right now because one side will not listen. They simply, like, the Democratic Party is only about being against Trump. That's all they're about. They're not about anything else. And it's clear. They can't even denounce Antifa and rioting and looting. And that should be enough. If they can't denounce it now, do you actually think that shit's going to turn off when somebody becomes president? It's not. Don't be that naive. Don't. We all have to do more work. We're all going to have to fight for our freedom. We're all going to have to fight against this shit because nobody else is going to come and save us. There isn't going to, not even the president. The president can't swing in and turn all this shit off. We're taking on a system right now, a system that has used a situation to their advantage. I'm not saying this situation doesn't exist. I'm not saying people haven't died. Of course they have. And it's tragic and it sucks. And you know what? There's a lot of blame to go around for that, especially, when we were accused of killing grandma. If we wanted to go back to work and a bunch of politicians killed grandma, it's like, what the fuck? And grandpa. And they're covering it up. And this isn't just bullshit, by the way. They get caught and nobody's talking about it. This should be the biggest scandal. There's a lot of things that should be the biggest scandal and the biggest story in the world. And they're not right now. Right now, we're too concerned if the first lady is telling the truth about Legos or some stupid shit like that. In the meme, okay, so the further, greetings from Switzerland. I wanted to ask you if you have some info about the rumors going on in the Stargate franchise about the new series. Keep up the good work with the channel. Igor, I don't know anything about Stargate. I mean, I've said as a blanket statement, you don't want anything you love adapted right now. Fight against it as much as you can. If you love that thing, you don't want to see it. Go back and watch your older episodes and pray to whatever deity you pray to that your thing doesn't get made within the next 2 to 3 years. Thank you, Igor, though. And people love Stargate. Like, they fucking love Stargate. And that is, I love that. One Punch Bud for £5. 2 seasons of The Boys, and they managed to kill one superhero. Worst special team ever. Love your show, Gary. That's a good point. One Punch Bud. They've killed a lot more in fucking they killed more accidentally. One Punch Bud than they did here. Martell World for $5. Hey, Gary. Another great live stream. Been watching your videos for a while. Just became a new member recently. Keep up with the great content. Thank you, Martell World. I appreciate it. 2,000 likes we hit. Hell yeah. Gary reference Star Wars High Republic. Looks like they're redefining canon and lore behind how the Force works is really meant to justify and validate why Rey is such a Mary Sue. Thoughts? Yeah. Bama Grad, I didn't get around to it. I have the article. We'll discuss it Friday. We're going to save that one for Friday, probably. Yeah. So much for, listen, I don't mean, like, they're not erasing the Disney trilogy. Like I said, if they were going to do that, you would already see them moving to try to back away from it and distance themselves. No, they are still producing content to justify Rey's existence. It's only going to get worse. This is fucking Disney. And this is Kathleen Kennedy, and as long as she's there, nothing is going to change. You cannot expect anything to change from old blood. I say that to the Democratic Party by electing somebody who's been in government for 47 years. I say that to Star Wars fans, whose Kathleen Kennedy has now been there for years. And has she changed once? No, things are not going to get better. You got one season of Mandalorian. What do you guess? And I hope I'm wrong, because we love fucking Gina Carano. Hail Gina Carano and Cara Dune. But what do you want to bet? What do you want to bet? Mandalorian season 2 goes down the same route as The Boys. I hope not, but it is. And we got Alex Kurtzman at Star Trek, and like, oh, maybe Star Trek Discovery season 3 will be different. No, it's not going to be different. It's not going to be different. This guy's not talented. New blood. That's the only way you're going to get newness, is with new blood, new ideas that work. And you know what? I just heard my governor in a press conference say things were working before the COOF came along. Things were really fucking good. They were really good until the Chinese COOF came around. And the Communist Party, sorry, not the whole country or anything, just a specific party. It's not the fault of the people. Just to make Mama Susan happy. But yeah, they're trying to justify she's a Mary Sue, and you're not going to get any new fucking ideas until you get new people. Gary, did you hear about Yelp's new policy? Oh, I did. They're flagging businesses for being IST simply based on the accusation and put a warning on their page. Fuck Yelp. If I was a business, I would back out, and that's going to backfire in their face. That could get a business burned down, by the way. And I think you could, I don't know if Yelp would be free of a lawsuit on that. There we go. My headphones got plugged. I work at Legoland, California, says GN for $5. It is a huge slap in the face for Newsom to say parks can't reopen for science and safety, yet sent a team to Florida. Bullshit. Yeah, fuck that dude. And I'm sorry to hear that. And Legoland is not far from me. My dad was instrumental in helping get that to Carlsbad, by the way. He did a lot of work to get that going. We fought hard to get that. He did. I didn't do shit. So Mellis Williams for 99 cents. Thanks for the popcorn. Jake D, thanks for the phallic unicorn for $1.49. My dad was a tax preparer. He was a CPA. He owned a company for his entire life. And he did very well for himself. A guy who was brought up in South Dakota without a dad. His dad died when he was 6. He had an older brother. He had a crippled mother. They owned a farm, and he worked on that farm until he turned 18, joined the Navy with his brother. They were dirt fucking poor. They lived in a house with no fucking bathroom or power. This is my father. This is one generation away. He was born towards the end of the Depression. He didn't have a pot to piss in, quite literally. And came out here, built up a business, did very well for himself later in life. And that's only in this system can you do something like that. I mean, the little, there's just, you don't even know. As bad as people say they have it now, they have no fucking idea what bad was. When you're in the middle of winter in South Dakota and you have a fucking stove to keep you warm. And you're 8 and you got to work on a farm. And basically that was back in the day that if you were a kid and you couldn't do something around the house to help be at work, you're just a useless mouth to feed. Remember, it's only the last, few decades where we have this established system where people were well off, and we aren't that far from real strife. New sub from Al. What's AL? From AL LC Country. From Alabama. Is it LC Country? I don't know what that is. I don't want to offend my new sub. Shade of the Evening for $5. A new sub from AL LC Country is one I'll never watch. Do Game of Thrones books? Oh, LC Country is one I'll never watch. Or Love LC Country. See, I get killed on these abbreviations. New sub from Alabama, probably. Love LC Country is one I'll never watch. Do Game of Thrones books and TV on my channel. 1984 is next. I should go political. I'm surrounded by commies. I don't know how political. I don't care who you vote for. I never care who you vote for. I don't. But this is my personal story. This is something I as far as the election fucking shit, it's I wouldn't normally get into that, but my family's life was turned on its fucking side along with many others. And we're talking about putting diversity issues on an economic recovery plan. These are fucking games that they're playing. They're playing motherfucking games. I mean, San Francisco has lost half of its fucking business, and the mayor hasn't even brought it up. Gavin Newsom did not bring up one fucking small business. He didn't even refer to small business. He just said, we'll bounce back because we're awesome. You know what he said? He said to the people leaving California, we have more Nobel laureates than any other state. It's because we have more people, dipshit. Fuck, he's a scumbag. Could you get Salty Cracker or Sinatra Says on Friday Night Tights? Yeah. Fuck yeah. Aiden Kale, thank you for the $4.99. Hail Gary, thanks for the great entertainment. You're welcome, Ashley Harmon. Thank you. I appreciate it for $1.99. Salty Cracker is a salty cracker. And that's a good channel, man. And Sinatra Says, didn't he get demonetized? God, I'm glad he's still around. I think didn't you get demonetized? I'm sorry, I haven't checked in on Sinatra Says in quite some time. Salty Cracker just blown the fuck up. And that's the power of YouTube. Brother, just keep doing what you're doing. And I'm glad that YouTube has not fucked with you. Scott Wiggins for $10. Thanks, Gary. You are welcome. Lost Hope for $5 Australian. When you said you're going to get real dark, I thought it would troll us with doing blackface maybe next time. No, I'm not going to do blackface. No. God bless you. Best of luck, says Seahawk Scott for $10. Thank you. Russell Hall for $5. Cyril Smith, MP, and Edward Heath, PM, were two British politicians who were worse than Seville. Smith used to beat kids with a hanger before the... What a... really? He's fucking dead, I hope, right? I hope he died horribly. Hail, Gary. Keep up the great work. Really makes my day. You're welcome. Noctum Siderius for $5 and Russell Hall for $5 more. Seville was nothing. No, he wasn't nothing. Read some of the stories surrounding the Westminster Paid or dossier. Evil doesn't begin to cover. Oh, I know all that stuff, buddy. I know. But Seville was not nothing. This is the shit we know about. I doubt that documentary is going to get into the shit that was rumored, which was not nothing. None of this was nothing. The Dr. The Dr. Blu-ray reviews. The Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews for £10 says defund the BBC. He agreed with me. Oh my God. The Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews agreed with me on something. Well, we can all come together in thinking Jimmy Savile's a piece of shit. Listen, he's fucking Hitler. And I know there's worse, but they're not, the BBC's not trying to cover its ass. But I agree with you, Russell. That shit is so super dark. Thundercats Ho, welcome to the proto-molecule level. And thank you for the pictures the other day. You rock. Hiram for $2. I miss the 1980s. I do too, but I would miss the internet more, to be honest with you. Because the 1980s was, I spent a lot of time fucking waiting for shit, especially when you're looking for drugs. Holy shit. It's probably easier than shit to get drugs now. Like you had to really try. Lord of the Rings is timeless, not made for just today. Eric K for $2. Yes. And the same for Star Wars. Same for Star Wars and same for Doctor Who and same for Star Trek. But Star Trek can get away with it more. But Gary, I fear for the future of this country, but I have a glimmer of hope with channels like yours. There always has to be a source for truth out there. Nathaniel Larson, thank you for the $5. I will do my very best. I will do my best. We need to do this ourselves though. We need to get out there, make your own channel, run for office, do something. We need alternatives because we cannot have more of the same now. We can't. How is Gavin Newsom different than any other piece of shit politician? He's not. He does nothing because it's not in his interest to do something, because to do something, he would get blowback and strife, and he would go down in the polls like a micro percentage. So he governs by virtue. That's all he does, is he governs by virtue. And he makes all the people happy with his social issue shit, but his economic policy is crap. He's a buffoon. He's in over his head. He's a complete dumb shit. And you know what? Irony of ironies. Oh, maybe not. He used to get his hair did in the salon my wife worked at before she bought her own salon. Yeah, I walked right by the guy to go visit my wife. He was in a chair getting his little perfect fucking American Psycho hair done. I saw him right there. And yeah. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit. The guy slept with his best friend's wife, who was his campaign manager. But keep fucking supporting people like this. Hail, Gary. I won't be watching Star Trek Discovery Season 3 either, but I'll be watching your reviews. Hail, Nicholas Horton. I'll be on 1:15 a.m. Pacific time tonight. And thank you, Nathaniel. I think I missed one up here. When you said it's going to be, oh yeah, I read that one. Thanks, Gary. If I missed one, Southeastern Kaiju. Remember, Gary, government is the only thing we will all belong to, say the Democrats. Stay angry, stay free. Hail to you. Yeah, I'll explain it in my video, but the whole attitude is everything's happening because of Gavin Newsom, but then he's going to beg the federal government for money. Everything happened in California because people really had the desire to live here, because of the entrepreneurial spirit, the individual entrepreneurial spirit. That's why we have giant corporations that were left alone and allowed to fucking do what they want. And honestly, I don't mind that until these giant corporations get so big they feel like they need to set policy and changing our lives instead of selling us books. Jeff Bezos, by all accounts, looks like a psycho, looks like a complete psycho. I know that. I looked at a bunch of, he's got these, I hope he's not. I hope he's the nicest guy in the world. I don't know. I've heard some horrible things and I've heard some decent things. And he's probably a complicated human like we all are. And I don't mind that. What I mind is the mayor who has power over all these people's lives, and she has no experience. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. San Francisco put her into office because she was the first black female mayor. The first black female mayor of San Francisco has now resided over the largest loss of business for any major American city during the coup. Congratulations. That's your first achievement. And what has she done to get out of it? Absolutely nothing. What has she proposed? Nothing. She's done nothing because she's fucking scared. Tell Jeremy to quit Twitter. Sky, I think he did. Russ Davey for 20 Norwegian I almost said quitter. Krona. Did they let him back on? Go off, Gary. I'm at the end of my wits. With the cuff. Yes. I will go off. Thank you for the $5. And Johnny Rotten was tired of being loved. Being hated is his fuel, says Andre Fernandez for 50. He's not. He's more loved than ever. Funny how celebrities said that they would leave if Trump won in 2016, and now they're leaving California because of leftist politics. Yeah, but Tommy Lee said he's going to leave. Not Tommy Lee Jones, the drummer for Motley Crue, said he's going to leave if we vote in the Orange Man. So he's not going to sexually abuse any women in America anymore. That's good. Get the fuck out. Piece of shit. Please do more nooners. You're more fun than anyone in late night since Letterman on NBC. Love your acerbic rants. Thank you. Oh my God. Zatharis. Thank you very much for the £5. To make up for the viewers I cost you. Oh, dude, it's okay. It's totally okay. I cost him. You didn't. I'm sorry. Hansha, first, I love you, man. Thanks for the joke. I thought it was funny. Thank you for your recommending Zvi Lebetkin. I am a Jew and I appreciate his perspectives. The historian for $5. I love Zvi. And we love all our Hebrew friends. Did my boy love... I'm trying to figure out what this says. Wizard Bees for $5. I'm going to read this super chat as you wrote it, brother. I don't know. Did my boy love sausage so dirty? That is terrible. I don't know what that I just said right there. Maybe you were trying to make me to say something, but that's a super chat. You're much more entertaining than Hollywood. Thank you, Daniel Poppy, for $2. Hail, Gary. You think there is any hope of our beloved franchises? I saw the first Star Wars when I was 10. I was angry what they did to Star Wars. There is hope, but I think we are the hope. We are the hope. Oh, I meant Star Trek Discovery on my phone. Auto-corrected. Ian Slater. Gotcha. Thank you for the $2. You didn't have to put that. The montages of... America's safe again, then shooting the clerk in straight propaganda against us. But exactly what the liberal media does to Trump, says Larry Tinsley. They flip the shit on him all the time. And I'm not saying don't be critical of the guy. I'm just saying be even-handed, but they're not. And they're hiding stories, and they're not talking about stories that are stories. And when I see my friends get so partisan that, like, when somebody gets murdered, dude, that's horrifying. Like, this shit's happening way too much, and people are getting very blasé about a guy got executed and a fucking news channel is involved. You notice nobody's going to that news channel to burn that shit down yet. All right, I gotta go. I really gotta go. If I missed any super chats, I will get them in the square up. I love you guys. Thank you so much for a good time. I went 43 minutes over, but I have to check on Junior, go to the gym, finish my California video. It will be out tomorrow. I'll see you in a few hours. If you're up, this will probably be a lot of Australians watching, but apparently Star Trek Discovery is going to air at 12 midnight. It'll probably be a little later, and I'll be on the air right after that. Now, if they hoodwink us and put it on at 3 a.m, I'm not going to go live at 3 a.m. So there's a time limit, but I'll just keep an eye on Twitter and also keep an eye on my website, nerdrotic.com. If you look to the right-hand side, you'll see a live stream schedule. Now, sometimes the times vary, but I'll tell you when they do. So thank you to the mod Rodix, who were Eric K, Chris Persia, And Lady Gravemaster produced this episode. She collated all the stories, got them to me, did a good job. Then we have, we just had Eric K. and Chris Persia, the Canadian Wrench. You guys are fucking awesome. And if there was somebody else there, I give you credit as well. And thank you to the chat. Thank you, everyone who subscribed. Thank you to anybody who just watched and took the time and participated. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the super chats. You are literally keeping the lights on right now. So thank you all. And again, if I didn't read it, it will be in the super chat, /toxic mailbag. Got a lot of P.O. box stuff to go over. Make sure to subscribe to Lady Greymaster channel. Please subscribe to Perry Chan's channel. Also, again, check out Nerd Cookies. That's a very good channel. There's a lot of up-and-comers here that we want to support. If you need a little help, we'll get around to you. We're going to try to shout out everybody on Friday Night Tights. As the fourth wave likes to say, we all rise together. And I try to help you guys, out because you guys help me. So it's the least I can do. And you guys are more entertaining than Hollywood. So there, back at you. So keep an eye on that video for tomorrow. See you next time. Not all who wander are lost. And may the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Nerdrotic.com.
Good night, everybody.